Welcome, people, to another episode of the Centre Circle. Before we start, I'm going to go through the formalities. Thank you very much for all your likes, subscriptions, and follows. Please keep it up, share, and all the good stuff.
Thank you.
Start off, we've got myself on hosting duties today. Man like Keith.
Big up. Marky Mark.
Daz is in the building.
Zach.
John here, dialing in.
John, you're not in the building today. Where are you today?
Well, sometimes you got to take a bit of a holiday, you got to change the weather. You know what I mean?
Sometimes, yeah.
But the football never stops.
You said don't catch feelings, catch flights.
That's it. I understand. We all need a well-earned break every now and again.
Exactly. Mark, relax. It's the second one. Yeah, relax. But but the football doesn't stop. So here we are.
That's true. Right, let's jump into it. So what we're going to do is have a quick recap from the midweek fixtures from last week, just set contents for the results of the weekend just gone. So we're going to have a quick flashback to last week. So Arsenal v Chelsea, Arsenal 3.
Come on.
Chelsea 1.
Right.
Bit of a formality.
All the haters are silent though.
Right.
Particularly this one. What you saying? What you saying? You're back in the title?
What am I saying, really?
Where's the Isaac one of them today?
Arteta finally saw sense and dropped holding because he was holding you lot back. Bars.
You haven't planned that.
Nah, that's off the dome, B. I mean, it's no coincidence. He's dropped him for the Chelsea game. He's dropped him for the who did you lot just beat? Newcastle game, and look what's happened. You lot have had a good upturn.
Do you think it's holding though? Do you think that's what's changed? Because he's played well in spells, isn't it?
I mean, well, the two obvious changes are Holding and Jorginho, right?
Yeah. I think Jorginho. I think that's more of a bigger impact than the Holding.
Do you want to touch on that one?
I think both. With Holding, it's not so much Holding himself, because when he was playing, people were like, oh, he's not making no mistakes or whatever. It's the changes he makes to the rest of the team. Because we can't play he doesn't want to play a high line. He's slow. He wants to be defending on the edge of his box.
Safe, not sorry.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
And what it meant is that other players, they were sort of compensating for him. And I think it's no coincidence that since Holding came into the team, Partey's form just dropped off a cliff. But what it is the gaps. He's having to cover a lot more space now because Holding is not as far up. So that the job for Partey has become harder.
So to your point, that's the point that I touched on last week about Fabinho. Not to don't want to digress, but when someone comes in who's not up to par or up to speed, it detracts from the other players, right?
Yeah.
And I can see the effect that he's had on Partey. I can see the effect that he's had on Ben White as well. So Gabriel is not he's not someone who can lead a back four. I think he can do his own job, but I don't think he can bring someone else along with him.
So do you think Saliba's the lead centre-back of that pairing?
Well, what I think they do, I think they look after each other. As in, they only do their own jobs. So they're both competent to do their own job. But the really elite defenders, they can do their own job and coach the next man next to him through.
So, good comparison question. So to what you're describing sounds to me like a Rio Vidic partnership where both of them are equally as good as each other, or good enough to just do individual jobs and be elite as a pairing. Or then you've got like John Terry and Carvalho, where like one's just clearly the more standout defender than the other.
Like a Tony Adams kind of thing, that he's going to be the more vocal one. You know who the leader is.
Yeah.
But if you've got 4 competent people at the back, you don't necessarily need a leader because everyone's competent in their own job.
And knows what they're doing. Cool. Jay, you got anything to say on the game from last week?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't necessarily agree for 2 reasons. One, the Partey thing. Let's be honest. If you're talking about his issues off the ball, then maybe I can see where Holding had a slight impact on his game. But most of Partey's failures recently have been when he's got the balls. That has nothing to do with Holding. Or where Saliba was or wasn't there. The mistaken games against Ham, his distribution has been wayward. He's not making the right decisions with the ball. So I don't know how much we can attribute Holding's presence in the team for Partey's. You know, a couple of my friends say Partey's been playing drunk. That's how he looks on the pitch. But I do think that in other sense that there's a kind of intangible sense of security there. When someone in the back four is a little bit wobbly, it just spreads. It's a bit like a little disease, you know what I mean? And QEO just has certain attributes, his speed, he seems to be comfortable on the ball, and both of them being left footers doesn't seem to be much of an issue.
Yeah.
I think one thing people need to realise as well, someone made a good point to me this week, that Gabriel's job on that side is a little bit different because of where Zinchenko drifts in and does the inverted piece. He's probably got a little bit more work to do on that side. He's got slightly different work to do on that side than Saliba does. So he's doing a couple of jobs there. Between Zinchenko and Xhaka being on his side, I think when we replace Xhaka, you will see Gabriel's job become a little bit easier because there'll be slightly more athletic cover for Zinchenko. But yeah, I would have been very annoyed if we lost that game. I think there was still a little bit of shaky game management there. There's no way they should have scored. Should have kept a clean sheet there. But yeah, just back to winning ways. I'm sure we'll touch on the second game of the week. But yeah. That's my thoughts on that.
And what I would say is that going into that game, even though Chelsea were not particularly good in form, I think Arteta had to make changes to the starting 11 just based on the performances that had happened prior to that game. So it's good to see he wasn't kind of stubborn and stuck in his ways in terms of, right, let me see if these boys can get out of the right themselves. Like he brought in Jorginho, took out Holding, and it paid off.
Like you said, to a degree, his hand was forced, right? So you can't have a poor run of games the way we had and then continue playing the same team, hoping it's going to eventually fix itself. So I think those two major changes played a massive part, particularly the Partey one. Not as much, again, I know you guys think the Rob Holding one made a massive deal, but I think he played fairly decent in the games that we dropped points. Obviously, everyone played rubbish in the game against Man City, but I think the Partey one is the telling one. And the game against Newcastle yesterday, which we're going to touch on in a second, showed that Jorginho isn't just there to make up numbers. And a lot of people, when we first signed him, thought, oh, Jorginho, why are we getting another player from Chelsea? He's washed, he's this, that, and the other. Jorginho, for me, when we're trying to keep the ball, is probably one of our best players.
Yeah, his ball retention.
Amazing.
Is very good. So, right, just moving on to the rest of the midweek fixtures last week. So, we had Manchester City v West Ham. I know the Arsenal men in the room were hoping they would get a favour from West Ham, but it turned out to be pretty routine for Manchester City. Goals from Ake, Haaland and Foden. Haaland breaking the Premier League goal-scoring record. He'd been devastating this year. Nice touch that he got a Guard of Honour from his own team after the game. Nice touch from Pep there. Any thoughts on the game, Mark? I know you were hoping West Ham were doing you a favour, as I said.
Listen, it's one of those things, yeah? Like you always say, that it's the hope that kills you, right?
It is, man. Myself and Isaac have been there.
Yeah.
Either hunting City or being hunted by
your
City.
PTSD, and I've been saying it for so long now, your PTSD isn't our PTSD, but I think it is now our PTSD.
Yeah.
I've come to the point of realising, hopefully we can still win it. It's not doom and gloom just yet. We're still a couple of points behind them. I think if Everton can do a job, again, hoping kills you, but if Everton do a job, if other teams do a job, we can still win it. But I did think West Ham, the way they've been playing, could probably nick something. And if you watch that game, they had opportunities to score, right? But yeah, it's one of those things, like Man City are always gonna eventually just kill you, and they just made it look easy.
Yeah.
So the thing is, right, the reason why I don't think you lot are going to catch them is because...
Bro, you didn't think we was going to catch them when we was 11 points clear. How does that make sense?
Confidence.
Listen, they're gone, right? They're in the distance. That's how bad it is. And the reason why I don't think you lot are going to catch them, number one, they're in full steam mode. Now, they're challenging for the Prem, they're challenging for the Champions League.
FA Cup.
And the FA Cup. They cannot afford slip-ups. They're in their rhythm now. And I don't think... I think literally anyone that gets in front of them, whether it's steamrolling or whether it's them literally just, scraping wins, you're not going to...
But that could also be their downfall, though, no?
Nah.
You don't agree?
Nah.
They're playing so many... They've got Everton sandwiched in between...
They've got a squad big enough to handle all of
true.
that.
That's
They've got
true.
real,
the
just
squad depth.
not
true.
just like like how Liverpool had, which was just our first 11, and then players good enough to kind of fill in. They've got players that can say, right, Grealish out, Mahrez in, Foden.
Just for the sake of it as well. Not like because they're playing bad, just to say, I want to
Literally,
change it out.
Stones out, Akanji in, or Diaz, or Laporte. They've got
And they all
depth
performed to a high level.
from front to back. Alvarez
annoying, I'm not
is better playing a second fiddle to Haaland.
Who would
Alvarez
start for
would start in any
most-
squad
most teams in the Premier.
Yeah, facts.
unbelievable. So that's why I feel like they just won't catch them at this point.
They've got what? They've got
And there's no drop off.
4 games?
And there's no drop off in execution.
No,
Zero drop off in execution.
this is it.
Whoever comes in, whoever starts, whoever comes on, they bring their own flavour to it. So yes, Grealish will do what he's doing in the wing. You bring on Mahrez, he does it, but in his own way. He's chopping, he's turning people inside out. It's just this. We chose the wrong year. This might be final form.
And KDB didn't even play. But Dad's going to say something.
No, they got 4 games left, City, in the league. And basically, we need them to drop points in 2 games. 2 out of 4. I can't really see it.
I can't see it at all.
They can even afford.
We need them to lose, right?
They need.
Because even if they draw one and lose one,
They can afford.
No.
they will still.
Yeah, no, we
They
can
will still
come.
win and goal difference.
So they can draw 2 and win 2 and win the league.
Yeah, so we need them to lose 1 and draw 1
That's
out of 4 games. So I can't
Yeah.
see it. I can't.
Like we say, the Premier League is very up and down, so we never know.
If we lose it, I just want us to like we played yesterday, just look like we're trying.
Yeah.
Because I don't want Man United or Newcastle to finish a couple points behind us, like I said last pod. Just look like we've tried, and finish a couple points behind City rather than a couple points ahead of Man United. Or I can't take that.
Fair enough. Liverpool 1, Fulham 0 last week. Fortunate penalty, would you say, Isaac? Or nailed on?
Nailed on, to be fair.
I didn't know he was going to say that.
No, there's been a bit of discourse. Like I was watching the game, and in real time, I thought it was a nailed on penalty. You look back at the replays, you can say Darwin's kind of left his leg out a little bit because he knows the contact's coming. Some say that's good gamesmanship. Some say it's taking it a bit too far. But if you get given those penalties, you've got to take it. Salah scored again. That was his 29th. Obviously, he scored again this weekend. We'll come on to that. But yeah, Liverpool playing well. Go back to my boy Trent. That role for him.
Worst right back everyone's ever seen.
Your boy Trent. Where did he become your boy?
Now he's his boy. Yeah.
Listen,
To be fair, Trent's always been my boy. Like,
Listen.
I will always call him out when he has a good game. But this new role that he's been put into, the boy's cooking.
No, you have to give him that.
Chef.
I can't lie. You have to give him that.
Do you
Chef
see
Trent.
it as sustainable? As in, going forward, do you think he can
It's a
have
good
this
question.
role?
So if you look at the stats that were presented at the weekend, he's number 1. So for April, he's number 1 in forward passes, chance creations, everything.
Assists.
And that's in the Premier League.
Mm.
I think putting him
Can I ask a
back-
question?
Yeah,
I
go.
saw those stats. Why was April picked? Why did they start April?
Because that's when he started playing that position.
But you
That's
can
when
only
he started playing in that
based
position.
on when he
Yeah.
started in the position. You can only do that. So
Yeah, you tried it.
Mm.
You tried it.
You
The-
tried
the-
it.
So the April period is justified. And I think based on those stats, it would be a real regression to put him back as an orthodox
Question.
right back.
What does Gareth Southgate now do with him?
don't pick him.
So I don't think he's played there long enough for Gareth to put him in the picture for that. But I think if he continues in that vein next season, there'll be no doubt about.
So the
Whether he
difference
pulls up.
between March and April is vast. Vast enough, in my opinion, to go, all right, he's back in contention for something. You can't, and the reason why I say that is because it's not like it's James Maddison trying to play his way into the squad, or it's Conor Gallagher trying to get a look in, or someone that's new and up and coming. He's been there, done that. He's proven, he's won trophies. He's been a key component of the England squad before. He's played his way back into form. Why would you not look at him for the next selection and go, right, maybe let's try something? Because his friendly's coming up, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Right, cool. Let's try something different.
Is Southgate agile enough to play that sort of formation. don't
I
think
was
he
just
plays
about
that
to say.
formation.
I was about to say. You're
I
assuming,
like that selection of wording. Agile enough.
Bro,
Right.
So,
you're assuming he's got the techers to make use of Trent's
this is
new,
what I'm saying.
new
So-
position.
Well, no,
My-
not
my-
necessarily the position.
my retort to that would be not the inverted midfielder.
This is it.
play him as a midfielder.
That's
Nah.
exactly
Okay,
Okay,
so then
yeah,
my
that
question
was
to
going to
that-
be my question. Yeah.
Exactly. Who ahead of who? Because he's
Okay,
not defensively better than Rice. He's not defensively better than Jude Bellingham.
No, Dean Saunders said that he's better than both of them. He said he's better than Rice.
Doing
and-
what?
Okay, so
Defensively?
As a
Hmm?
mid, Dean Saunders,
yeah, I
he
heard
was on the
that.
radio.
Ah,
he was on the
As soon
radio
as he said
saying
Dean Saunders.
that he's better than Jude and he's better than Rice and he should be in midfield.
Attack.
Okay.
Okay, let me throw this out
Hmm.
at you. England friendly doesn't really matter what happens because it's a friendly. Would
Yeah,
you
can play.
play a midfield of Bellingham, Rice, and Trent?
Yeah, because you just said it
all
doesn't
day,
matter.
all day.
It doesn't matter.
But do you think that would be a sustainable midfield going forward?
No.
No,
Why not?
but what I would
because
say,
so go on.
So
What-
it's like, Jay shaking his head
Right.
usually there.
That's good.
Let me go with Jay first. Then I'll come to Daz.
The only reason I'll say that is because if you look at where England have fallen down, it's been at the sharp end against the best or what we call the top teams, right? As much as we diss Gareth and his love for certain players and his selection, his record is impeccable in terms of qualifying games,
Yeah.
etc. I don't know if you want to roll out a Trent, Rice, and Bellingham midfield.
So what's the
Against the
deficiency
team.
there that you see? Because
I
for
don't
me,
know if
so I'd say defensively, you've got Rice, who's good at covering the ball. You've got Bellingham,
Mhm.
who can attack because he can essentially do the box to box, and you've got
Yeah, he
the legs of Trent, who can stay in the middle and spray the ball. So where do you
Is
see
that
the
all he's
deficiency?
doing though? Just spraying the ball. What else
That's
is he
and
giving
that's
us?
where your problem
Yeah.
is. That's where your problem is. So you've got,
Yeah.
like you said, you've got Rice who's doing the anchorman role.
Yep.
You've got Bellingham who can go box to box, and then you've got Trent. You just said legs and spray. As much as I love Trent, and that's my boy, Scousers unite. You need more than that. You need
Okay.
a ball carrier. You need a Modric type player, or you need a David Silva type player, or you need a Cam. Right? You
Yeah.
got it's
And I
got to
think
be.
to
It's all
Isaac's
about
point-
balance in that middle.
to Isaac's point, what I was going to finish to say was, if Trent plays there, is that what he becomes when he plays there? That's it now. You know, when he stays at the ball or he goes somewhere else, he refines it over a whole year in every competition, Prem, CR, da. Then yeah, you're right. Then it's different. And it's a different thing of where Gareth won't do it until he has to. We've seen it 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
And the way his teams play, they're not much progressive. They very much relies on pace and you know, when it's a low block, we've got to play through routine. England don't crack that nut. It doesn't work that way.
Because we don't have the
But
players.
let's just say, no, and also his way of playing doesn't encourage him to try and do that.
Yeah.
Hence why it took Maddison to effectively be the shining light in the relegation team before he got picked. But I think it's a great credit to Trent. I think it's, even though it's a little bit belated, I think it's great credit to Klopp as well to make that change. Like some of the greatest managers, they're some of the most stubborn, but it makes sense why they're so stubborn because what they're doing is what's brought them their success, right? But I think it's credit to Klopp for changing it. Some would argue a little bit late, but great credit to Trent. It's not. It sounds like it's a few meters, but anyone that's kickball knows moving from one position in the pitch to another and doing it at that level must be totally different. I don't care how often you do it in training. When you're doing it in a pressure situation when the team hasn't been doing well, fair play to.
That's true.
But Southgate's not going to do it. Sorry, in short.
Yeah.
That's good.
Just what I want to explain is that with Trent, to actually be doing what he's doing now, right back to inverted and going in midfield, is a completely different job to actually being in midfield.
Mm.
The thing is, at the moment, he's going in there, he's the spare man. So he's actually not being accounted for. So he's got the time, he's got the space. If he actually started as one of the midfielders, he then needs to do the job that all the rest of the midfielders are doing. And that's completely different. So I don't think you could put him in there for England as a midfielder. He would have to play for Liverpool as a midfielder for a while first to get used to it. Because at the moment, it's like Zinchenko. When he goes in there, he's the spare man. He's got time, space. That's a lot easier to play. So I would not put him in there as a midfielder. But for England, maybe as the inverted.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how it goes, what Klopp does going forward after this season. I think he's going to play there for the rest of the season, but it'll be interesting to see what happens next season for Liverpool and England. And then finally, the last game from last week, Brighton won, Manchester United
Oh
0.
my God.
Manchester United.
So I think everyone knew this wouldn't be an easy game for Manchester United, just the way Brighton were playing going into the game. Man United played okay, not in the best of form, but they've been doing okay. But Brighton were really good in this game.
Oh, really good.
Oh, they wanted their
so
leg
many
back.
chances.
Yeah, definitely.
Who wants to take the floor with this one? Who wants to go on, Isaac? Quick summary.
Quick summary. Boy, I can't really be quick about this, but I will.
We got another chance to cook them later, so it's fine.
No,
You
no,
can
no,
be
no,
quick
no,
on
no.
this one.
We've got something for that. We've got something for that. Do you know what it is, right? After seeing Brighton cook Wolves, I knew they were going to come away with 3 points against United. They were on a good run of forms. I felt like, as a fan and as a player, I would have felt like, we deserved more from that FA Cup game.
As a Brighton fan and player.
Yeah, we deserve more because if you watch that game, they were by and large the better team.
Yeah.
So I think that was the basis of why I felt like, right, they're really going to come back and show United what's what. Albeit it was just a 1-0. This United team, they've got a new manager in. He's shown signs of philosophy. He's shown signs of direction. But deep down, I can't see much has changed from the Ollie days. I can't see much has changed from the David Moyes days. Even.
From the David Moyes days?
Ooh, bit harsh.
It's harsh, but, it is what it is.
So, do you think that's mainly down to the personnel? So, Ten Hag
100%.
brought in, from his own signings, he brought in Anthony,
Malacia,
Weghorst.
Casemiro.
Weghorst,
Martinez.
Casemiro, and Martinez.
So
that's 4. And you could arguably say they needed more signings, like, who was the interim? Ralph.
Yeah, right.
Said they needed 10.
They need to cut the whole team.
He said they needed 10 players to challenge.
Ralph was right.
And he's only brought in 4 or 5.
They need a new keeper. Let's just be honest.
Most definitely.
100%. 100%.
Wow, they need a new keeper. And it's really bad that he's in line to get the Golden Glove, isn't it? They're saying that he's
that's weird, man.
That is so bad. They need a new keeper. They need Harry Maguire needs to go. They need to ship him out first class.
They need
no return to sender. They need. Their midfield.
They need strikers.
They need
strikers.
They need strikers.
number 9.
They need that. Do you know what? I'm at a loss for words because I'm trying to think. They just need a whole new team. It's that bad.
It's literally
that bad.
They're playing their best left back at centre back. That should say a lot.
Despite having England's best centre back on the bench.
It's madness.
Crazy.
It's mad. Jay, you got anything to chip in with?
Well, I think it's. We all thought that Brighton were going to do a job, but I'm not sure how that manifested in the actual game. I mean, a 99th minute penalty doesn't necessarily kind of show that Brighton kind of came and executed. Man United almost got away with a draw, essentially, right? Like 99th minute penalty. Yeah.
I think Ten Hag would have been very happy leaving there with a draw, a point after the
exactly. Yeah. So by the end of the day, yeah, a win's a win. 3 points is 3 points. But I think if Man United, and we're going to talk about the weekend results as well, but if Man United end up letting this slip away, absolute travesty. I think they're in a slightly similar spot to Arsenal in the sense of, I think if Ten Hag doesn't have the exact 11 he needs to play, then he's just filling in with players where the drop off is quite steep.
Yeah.
And that plays out when they play games against teams like Brighton, where they rotate 4 of their best players the game before and they absolutely annihilate a team. So yeah, going to be interesting to see how Brighton bolster that team and kind of take this to the next level. So let's see how they finish. I don't think they're going to get top 4, but yeah, the result we all thought what was going to happen. but the way it manifested was close. Like, they were literally seconds from.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they made the decision after the final whistle for the pen, right? That's how close it was.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
So, Daz, the handball from Shaw, do you think it's just a
Madness.
lapse of concentration?
Absolute madness. I can't believe he done that in the last minute, the last corner of
When
the
you say
game.
you can't believe he did that, did it look intentional to you? Because it kind of looked intentional to me.
Yeah, to me, it looked like he just put his, like he had a bozo moment, like one of them moments where you just don't know what did he panic? But the thing is, where the ball was, even if the Brighton player headed it, he wasn't going to score from out there. It's like, I think he just panicked. I think he was under the ball, panicked, and just put his arm up. Couldn't believe it.
It's a case of why is your hand there in that situation, basically?
Yeah.
Is there not room for, because when you jump up, right, your arms are in the air already, but if you kind of feel like a push in the back, your arms kind of,
Nah, it wasn't.
Blatantly,
It was blatant. It was blatant. Bossa.
But the thing is, he done it well because I didn't even see it in real time. And the referee obviously didn't see it. So obviously VAR, you can't get away with that kind of stuff no more. But he would have got away with it.
Yeah, I was shocked because after the ball came across the box from, I can't remember which Brighton player it was, they were like, "Oh, there's a check for a handball." And I was like, I don't even remember.
But it was the same
because
reaction.
it was so far on from the corner. But yeah, it's a bit of a crazy moment.
Can we talk about that penalty though? Is that not one of the best penalties you've ever seen? It is for me.
It was.
He wrapped his foot around that.
And I think it was Jamie Redknapp on punditry. He said that's one of the best penalties they've ever seen
Jeez,
in
man.
professional football. And to be fair, it's a pressure cooker moment, isn't it? Like your team's still chasing a Champions League or top European spot.
I mean, is that pressure any worse than a World Cup final?
It's true, but they all kind of count in it. It's not as up there.
Yeah.
You've been to the highest mountain.
Yeah.
You've looked out across the landscape, and you've come back down to deal with this regular Premiership.
Did he score his pen? Did he score his pen in the World Cup final?
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah, after that, everything's calm, isn't it?
It's not up there with the World Cup, obviously, but I think last kick of the game, you want to make sure your team carry 3 points as opposed to.
Yeah, it was a good penalty. And Man United fans will
No, but the World Cup that prepares you for that, right? The World Cup, that's what I mean. So I'm not saying it as a slight. I'm saying, maybe the World Cup experience has helped him for that, the moments like that. Final whistle is gone. You are literally the last kick of the game. It's 0-0. You swing your boot and you get 3 points or 1. And the World Cup has probably sharpened it. Right?
Yeah, I think if that's me taking that pen, the pressure's making me just hit it hard at the goal, straight down the middle. Wrap him up. If that hits the post and goes out, he's
annoyed. But Man United fans will tell you that De Gea's record in penalties is very poor. Finals, standard Premiership games, he hasn't got a good record.
Anyone who's in goal is not saving that, but I hear you.
I think a lot of goalies struggle with penalties nowadays, I don't know whether they don't do enough work on it and that, but I think
they do enough. They've got information on bottles and stuff, bro.
But my thing is, the striker does his job, but the keeper shouldn't even have a chance.
Yeah, true.
College.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
so when they say keeper, when they say keepers don't do well and stuff, I'm just like, well, hold on. If the penalty taker does his job, then unless it's an absolutely fantastic save, which happens more less often than they do, then unless he's never saved a penalty in his career, I don't understand that discourse about goalkeepers being poor at pens. Unless someone can say, "Oh, these are 10 pens other keepers would have saved that he didn't save." Fair enough, but generally, you always hear professionals tell you if you're doing your job, striker you should not miss penalties. You always hear the top players say you should not be missing penalties.
Cool.
And I've never missed any, by the way.
Right, so that wraps up last week's. Right, so moving on to the weekend fixtures. Quite an eventful round of games in the Premiership this weekend gone. So let's start off with Newcastle v Arsenal.
Come on, boys.
I myself was expecting a very good game, and I think it was. I think if you look at the start of the game, before the Newcastle penalty incident, in my head I thought whoever scores first in this game is going to win the game. The penalty incident happens. Sorry, Newcastle hit the post before the penalty, don't they? Murphy with a good effort. Newcastle get the penalty. Then it's turned over by the referee going to VAR screen to have a look. And I think that kind of kills Newcastle momentum. They started the game really well. Didn't get that penalty. They went a bit flat. And then Odegaard who's had a really good season in my eyes.
Turned up.
Some people will disagree.
Let's not name names.
Maybe at the end of the season, Arsenal score and then the game kind of goes in Arsenal's favour.
Mm.
So, T, what are your thoughts on the Arsenal performance? So I wouldn't say you've been critical of Arsenal of late, but you said they need to tweak things. What have you seen the difference in the last 2 games to Arsenal?
I think Arteta got the belief back in the players, made them, believe a bit more. After this was the one game that I really wanted Arsenal to turn up to, and we did. I thought it was going to be a high with emotion, the fans. It was going to be it's going to be a tough game, a very tough game. But we done what we needed to do. Yeah.
Do you think it's a case of, as we mentioned earlier, do you think it's a case of Arteta giving confidence back to the players or making the right changes?
I think it's
with like Holding being taken out, Kiwior coming in, Jorginho coming in, Partey going out.
We don't know what he's been seeing in training, innit? So he might have thought that my man wasn't ready yet.
Yeah.
That's it. Just wasn't ready yet. Holding is there. Holding does know he isn't up to scratch of what we have. Saliba and Gabriel and the other guy looks definitely better than him at the moment. But what he's probably seen in training might not have been ready.
So beyond Kiwior and Holding, do you not have any other depth in terms of centre backs? Like, is there anyone else?
Maybe Ben White, Tomiyasu.
We've got players that can play there, but I mean, Ben White now almost looks like a natural right back.
Yeah.
Tomiyasu is a right back and can play left back. He can fill in that centre back, but I mean, push come to shove. The reason we bought Kiwior in the first place is to play centre back, right?
And Tierney, to be fair.
Tierney can play
He's
there.
done it as
yeah.
well.
We got players that can play there, but natural centre backs.
Do you think that's going to cut it next season?
No, we need to go shopping hard. So,
but he looks good.
He does look good. He didn't look good early in the season though. When we played him in the Europa League, he looked a bit shaky. I think when we played him in the game against Sporting Lisbon, I wasn't sold. There's one challenge he went up for a header. Him and Ramsdale just done some mad calamity and more Kiwior to blame. But no, he does look good. He does look good. He looked okay in the World Cup. I didn't watch him like particularly, but I did a bit of YouTube scouting on him. And obviously, you can't really tell if a player's good based on that. But I think in spells he's played well. He's got a good ping on him. He's got pace.
Decent backup, isn't it?
He's a decent backup. But he's definitely better than Rob Holding. So
Sorry, go.
No, so I was just going to say, you said that you need reinforcements in the centre-back area. Do you sign someone who is the same level as Saliba and Gabriel? We need to
sign some. We're going to the next level. This is Champions League now, right?
So you need to sign someone better than the two of them?
We need to sign someone that's going to give both of those players competition. Because even though I love Saliba and Gabriel, they've both got mistakes in them. They're both still a bit, I'd say, immature football-wise. And yeah, you just need to be able to rotate.
I think I'd like someone a bit older.
Experience, the veteran role.
Definitely, just like Jorginho.
What, like a Jorginho in defence?
Yeah, exactly that. I feel like that will be perfect. That if one of them two got injured, that vet just comes in, slots in.
Silver?
What, from Chelsea?
That would be perfect. But
from Chelsea?
We couldn't get him.
No.
So you don't mean him, but someone of that ilk?
Yeah,
I mean,
Silva is probably the best player that Chelsea has.
Well, to be fair, his contract's up in the summer.
No, let's not go there.
I wouldn't go that far.
Let's not go there.
But I wouldn't be mad at it though. I wouldn't be mad at it. I wouldn't be mad at it.
We're not paying his wages, bro. We're not paying his wages.
Jay, are you in agreement in terms of the calibre of centre-back? So the reason why I was surprised Mark said you needed someone better is because both Saliba and Gabriel were highly rated amongst Arsenal fans. So to say that you need someone better than them, I'm a little bit shocked at. So what's your take on it?
Well, no, the logic rings through. We've seen teams, when you want to play Prem, you want to play Prem at the same level again this season. Plus do well in the Champions League. And do well in the FA Cup. But all the major competitions, the defence got to be the basis of that. I just think at the moment, though, Eddie and Arteta are probably going to try and focus on the fullback position. Like if they've got budgets to get 3 or 4 players of a certain level in, I think replacing Tomiyasu, because the injury record means he's not kind of reliably
Yeah.
part of the squad. I think that's somewhere where they're going to spend. And everyone keeps talking about Tierney moving on, and there's usually no smoke without fire. So I wouldn't be surprised if you saw a very decent spend at fullback, and then a lot of money splashed in centre mid. So yeah, in the ideal world, Terrell's right. I think he gets someone in who's been there, done that. He doesn't have to play all 60-something games, but in the big games, in the right games, he plays. If we need to move to a back three, gives Arteta that option. So you get a Thiago like, I was going to say Ramos, but he's been an absolute disaster for PSG. But someone who is, like, it might not even be better, but he's done what Saliba and Gabriel do at a high level more
Character,
consistently.
innit?
Yeah, exactly. But I just think the way things are panning out, I think they're going to buy 2 fullbacks, big money centre mid, maybe even 2, and you might even see a striker like a Tony-esque. Don't want you running around. All you do is run in a straight line to the penalty spot and back. I think that's what we will see.
So it's interesting you said striker, because I'm going to just touch on Jesus' performance in the game. You done well. I wasn't particularly enamoured with his performance in the game. Like, he'll give you legs, he'll give you the energy, but do you think Arsenal were missing a solid number 9?
Prolific striker.
In that game, as someone who's played striker before, looking at Jesus, he's doing so. I'm seeing him in left back, I'm seeing him right back, I'm seeing him come back into the midfield. But then after the game, as a striker, I thought to myself, Saka had chances, Odegaard had chances, Martinelli had chances. We created so many chances. I can't remember Jesus having one shot on the goal.
He had one shot on target.
He had one shot on target. I can't even remember it. And that's what I'm saying. As a striker, he comes a bit. I can't even remember you having a shot, yet your team had loads of chances. I think he just needs to get a bit more goal threat. He's doing a lot, and I appreciate what he's doing for the team, but I think he just needs to try and stay closer to the goal and get chances, because we need that as well.
Question based on that. If at the beginning of the season, when this was all ticking nicely, did you have a gripe with that? Because he helped.
No one did.
No one did.
But he was. But at the beginning of the season,
That's not true.
He was getting chances.
That's not true.
Or you, John. Just you.
We had this conversation in the group. The receipts were in the group. me and you team. We had this conversation. Do you remember? So one of the main reasons we started recording this pod.
But it worked, right? It worked to Arteta's
100%.
plan. This is what Arteta. This is the kind of striker Arteta wanted. He didn't want someone who's going to stand up there and hold
Okay,
the ball.
so here's sorry to cut you, but here's the gripe I have with that, because I've been watching. I've been keeping tabs on Lacazette in the French league.
He's doing well.
I think he's doing more than well.
Top goal
But
scorer.
then it's the French league. Are you really comparing?
No.
No. It's true though.
No. There's the French league, right?
Yeah.
And then there's actually watching and like the eye test, as they say.
Maybe the shackles are off, innit? Maybe he's a bit more free now.
Characters though as well. Don't know how he was at Arsenal. He might have not really.
I hear that,
bothered.
but to Daz's point, if you had Lacazette in this squad, the way he's playing now, oh Jesus Christ! I think you'd have won the title by now. I'll just go off. I'll go off of that was when he was here, but obviously you have to take into context, right? Arteta's come in and he's implementing his style. Is implementing his style and and whatnot. And obviously maybe he's not given. You might say he's given Lacazette the chance, but really I don't think he did.
So what you're saying is,
I think if
in this Arsenal team,
I think Lacazette in this Arsenal team with the confidence and the confidence and the flair he's got now, he's doing at Lyon. He's doing everything that does.
He looks different though. He looks like he's trimmed himself. He looks like he's aggressive in front of goal. He knows where the goal is.
He might be taking football more seriously now. At Arsenal, he wasn't.
Yeah, but then my point was if Arteta had, I don't know the ins and outs. All I know is what was on the
they offered him a deal, by the way.
All I know is what was on the Amazon documentary, right? If he'd have managed to just get this Lacazette in this Arsenal team, I think that would have.
I've seen him finish some. I've seen his finishing sometimes. It's been serious, but he just didn't do it enough when he was here. And I don't know.
Well, you can't go 3 months without a shot on target and then be.
Yeah, I forgot about that. There you go. I forgot about that.
So Jay,
I went 3 months without a shot on target.
And now he's trim. Now he's banging in goal. So what was the problem? Why couldn't you do that at Arsenal?
Jay, let me throw this out to you.
I think that speaks to both of our points, to be honest.
Yeah, it's true.
Would you-
True.
Would you sacrifice Jesus, alternating with Bartelli on the left, and bringing a number 9 who you know can score
Crazy.
goals?
No way.
So this is the point I was going to
No way.
make. I think we have to look at this slightly differently. I think if you think about the philosophy that Arteta helped cultivate at City pre-Haaland, it was about multiple people creating chances and being in position to take chances, right? It wasn't about a one. Even Kun, whilst he was there, scored a lot of goals, but you could see that Pep wasn't wedded to that. So I'm not surprised that actually he wants a lot of people who are going to work very, very hard, and that the chances get created. And the idea is anyone they fall to have their quality to finish them off. So it doesn't surprise me. So as much as I used to, chirp with Tyrell about this early in the season, to be fair to Arteta, that is the philosophy he came with. I think he will progress it a little bit. And I think if Tony didn't have the better situation, I'm speculating here, but if a striker like Tony becomes available or Vlahovic becomes available again, then I think you're right. I think what happened to Jesus at City, James at City, happened there. Now he's an
that's
option.
why I mentioned it, because you see
Yeah.
what Jesus was when he left City.
Yeah.
I think
that's what happens.
Arteta didn't bring him in to do that role that he kind of done at the tail end of his City career. But I could potentially see Arsenal getting a number 9 and Jesus being a more of a support role, even if he's not out on the left, maybe like a 10 kind of role.
At the expense of who?
Martinelli.
I'd say
I think
out of the front
Martinelli.
three, Martinelli.
I think Martinelli and Saka get rotated a lot more next season. There's too many games.
So off the left,
There's too many
so
games.
have him on the left coming into the central role.
So
I think
basically,
he
where
will-
he plays anyway.
He moves around too much though to be on the wing. How we play
So
with wingers,
then-
they stay there.
So then why not focus on just making him more central focused?
Fox in the
Because I
box.
think he
Fox.
works now.
It-
What he's doing
Yeah.
now, it works.
Okay, maybe a bit of both. Like say, okay, still do that, but remember, because Kun done the same. Kun was about, but he was always in that box when it mattered.
So T, do you think?
No, you're right.
Go on,
No, I'm
Jay.
going to say you're right. That maybe that's something they work on in pre-season. But I think the T's point, I think in where we are at our stage and the way games are going, Arteta enjoyed the extra man and that work that he was giving kind of behind the ball. But to your point, T, if he's out there and we've seen him do it, he has to be more disciplined on that side. We've seen him do that before he comes out. So they kind of change his discipline. And then he's almost got someone to kind of feed off on the inside. I'd love to see Saka and him or Martinelli and him or Saka and Martinelli have a central man in the middle to kind of feed off around.
Yeah.
That kind of, Vlahovic type, Haaland type kind of player. Someone with a bit of physical presence, but they're hungry to finish. They want to score goals. So I wouldn't be surprised if at the right level, maybe 80 to 90 million, someone comes up. I wouldn't be surprised if they do that deal. Wouldn't be surprised. Especially now we've got Central League.
So T, I was just gonna say, do you think Jesus is working too hard at the minute? Obviously, he came back from a long injury. Arsenal were still in the title race. Do you think he's putting too much into his game? Where at the start of the season, he was a bit more relaxed. So even though you said he was being busy, but he was still getting in the box and putting the ball in the net. Where the last few games, he doesn't seem to be the focal point of what you want Arsenal's attack to be.
Do you know what? Yeah, I feel like you can't change him, man. He just is. He is what he is, isn't it? I don't know. You lot say, oh yeah, teach him how to just do one thing, like stay in the box or that. But I don't think you can, bruv. Like just how he plays football, he just goes with the flow.
That's it.
That's
It's too late.
him.
He's
He
set.
can't.
He's set.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Even when we were saying when he first came back from injury, and we was like, why does Arteta keep taking him off? Because he has to. Because he's not gonna. Oh, do you know what? I just come back from an injury. Let me just chill out. He's gonna run to left back. He's gonna run to right back. He's gonna
give
go
100%.
That's just the player he is, isn't it? So I feel like he in this team, you're always gonna get chances, isn't it? He might not be the most clinical finisher, but he's gonna get some goals. He's gonna get chances. He's gonna get goals. We saw Nketiah come in. It looked like, oh my gosh, he's gonna take Jesus' spot.
Never.
Because he's a better finisher and he was doing a bit of the hard work. So he was doing a bit of what you lot are saying now. Try and stay more in the box and finish. And we saw it with his finishing and stuff like that. And he was doing the hard work. So, but you can't replace what someone like Jesus gives you. A lot of players that just don't do that. Just keep running just non-stop. You don't have to tell them to run.
Yeah.
He just does it.
Yeah.
He can't. He ain't even thinking about should I run. He just does it.
Yeah.
It is what it is. So, perfect player in certain aspects and other aspects not as great.
Yeah,
but
I think
I'm
you take away
taking
from
him.
his game if you tell him to stop doing one part
You
of.
can't.
You take away from his game big time. So,
I think eventually he's gonna have to though.
well, as he gets older,
Yeah,
naturally,
father
his body's
time.
gonna.
Father time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isaac, do you think that it's a thing of the chances he does get? He just needs to be more clinical with them?
100%.
Oh, yeah.
Or do you just think that he's just
Yeah.
not in the positions to even get the chances in the first
No,
place?
no. I think he's. Good question. I think
He
it's a
gets
bit of
chances,
both.
doesn't he?
I think he gets chances.
A bit of
He's
both.
he clearly displayed that at the start of the season. To your point about being relaxed, he clearly because he was putting away some goals.
Yeah, he was.
You know, I think to T's point, it's a case of he's come back. He's doing 100%, and it's just maybe it's just a little mindset change. It's not a case of he doesn't know where the goal is. So I think it's a bit of both. I think he needs to be a bit more selfish, aggressive in front of goal.
I think he.
Yeah.
I think he snatches at a lot of chances though.
Yeah,
so I think
he
he
does.
is. He has got that greed. He wants to score.
Oh, okay.
I think he does everything. That's maybe the problem. I think he does everything. He does it well as well. Like we're saying, we need a guy up there like a Tony, hold up the ball, more focal point, whatever. Even when you stick that ball up to him, coming that he holds up that ball.
Yeah,
People
it's
play
mad.
off of
He
him.
does. It's mad.
Yeah, so what I would say is that you say he does everything, but I think he's in an Arsenal team where he doesn't need to do everything because you've got enough talented players around him to do some of the jobs he does. And going forward into next season, I don't think he should be in a position where he has to do everything. I think you hopefully want to make the signings.
But don't you think the other players feed off of what
His
he does
energy.
as
I was
well?
just about to say
His
that.
energy, what
I
he
was
does,
just
other
about to
players
say that.
feed off
I
of
understand that, but that shouldn't be a basis for every game. Like, I shouldn't have to go into a game and want Mark to do 10 out of 10 for me to raise my game.
that. Me and Mark have been doing that for we was doing that for we got the energy out there, mate. We had the energy out there, mate.
Yeah,
I
Mark-
tell
What
ya.
I would say with Jesus though, with his finishing and his goal ratio, that's been consistent in his career. At Man City, with Brazil, he's never been a clinical striker. I don't think you can turn him into a clinical striker because he's not that type of player. He's not a natural finisher. So I think you can get him close to the goal, get him more chances. But in terms of how many of those he's going to take, I feel like he's going to take them at the same rate that he's been taking them his whole career.
I hear
Yeah,
you.
and
Sorry, go on, John.
No, I'm going to say, I think this is a good example where fans' expectations and what Arteta and Eddie bought him for probably differ. Like, we automatically say as fans, yeah, we bought him for a lot of money. He's coming from Man City. When he comes here, he's going to do more of this and more of it, etc. But like I said, the stats don't lie. He's played a lot of games, generally over a long period of time.
He does
Stats
play well.
don't lie. Yeah, so Arteta and Eddie probably knew what they were buying. They knew what level of gold they were going to get from him. But they knew, to your point, see the other things he had, they wanted to bring to this team to get us to the next stage. So yeah, that's a really good point. I think as fans, we've got a certain view. But if you spoke to Arteta tomorrow behind closed doors, I'll probably be like, no, I've got what I bought. This is what I wanted.
I understand that, but in a title challenging team, you need the goals.
Yeah.
But
Because
remember, we've got to
if so go.
just focus. They weren't expected to be title challengers this year.
They
So-
weren't, but they are now.
But we've got the goals. We've got the goals for as a title
It's
challenge.
spread around.
We scored enough to win the league.
Yeah, but you could say that Jesus has contributed to the reason why it's spread out across the team.
Yeah.
As well to
And I
just-
think that's good. That's good. If it's spread out and he's helping as a collective, if because of what he's doing, Saka and Martinelli are getting more goals, then that's great.
But if he then
But
also
I think
added
as a
goals
point
to
is
his,
important for next season.
Exactly.
if he then
Exactly,
also
John.
added goals to
Exactly.
his repertoire, more
Exactly.
goals, that could be the difference between second and first.
I think he scored less goals than the likes of Odegaard, Saka, and Martinelli as well.
Yeah.
But
Imagine
he
he
was
scored-
out for 3 months though, and it was out for 4 months.
True,
so
but ratio,
I don't
I
even
think
mind.
he still scored less goals.
It's when he scores the goals that matter.
Mm.
If he gives me the same goals next season, but they're 10, 11 clutch Prem goals. I'll take it.
Crucial.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm not even, well, now we're at this end of the table again. You know, it's been such a long time, I forget certain things, yeah? But at this end of the table, you're going to score a certain amount of goals, that's why you're there. But actually, the difference is who scores the important goals, who scores the goals when, you know what I mean? You know, Saka's been such a consistent player for us all season. Are we having a slightly different conversation here if he scores that penalty? Do you understand? So I think when you're at this end, if you said to me now, you know what, but he's going to score the same amount of goals next season, but he's going to score them in important moments, I'll slap your hand off all day.
But the important moments is what? The 2 City games, the couple draws.
Southampton away early in the season.
Liverpool, yeah. Well, forget the City games, Steve. I'm not going to lie. The West
essentially, you want your clutch
Southampton
players.
game.
But we've done enough to win the league. It's just that look who we're up against by far as well.
I fully agree.
Only a few
I fully
minutes.
agree.
But no, I think that's a really good discussion. Let's power on to Man City v Leeds and your boy Sam back
He's my G, man.
back in the frame.
He's my guy.
So yeah, if you've been a long time listener, you know we've had a few discussions about why Sam hasn't been given the bat signal by some of the teams in and around relegation, and Leeds have finally done that. One, is it too late? And two, does he stay on next season if they go down?
I don't know if they keep him past this season if they go down or even if they stay up, to be honest. But
So you think it's a little bit too late?
I think it's a bit too late.
I think it's very late. Bro.
But he can do it. Big Sam can do it. If anyone could do it, Big Sam can do it.
So I think it's late, yeah, because it's 4 games left of the season, end of the season.
Yeah, well, 3 for them now.
3 now, yeah. But like T said, if anyone can do it, it's definitely Big Sam that can do it. But it's definitely it's far too late. They should have, like the whole Vieira sacking. Just you know the ship's going down. Just make a decision, whether you think it's a good decision or not. Just change something in it. The players will probably react to that, and I think Leeds have just left it way too late. To your second question, if they do go down, they probably do keep him. Why not? Who else is there to? It's the Championship. I think.
You're assuming he wants to stay there.
This is it.
That's
That's
it.
it.
I don't think. Yeah,
That's
Okay,
it.
I
well,
don't think.
That's a different question.
This is
You're
the
asking
same
if they
Sam
keep
that said he's
him.
on the level of
Oh,
Klopp
yeah.
and Pepper them, man. He doesn't want to be managing in Championship.
If he wants to stay and they want to keep him, I think it's a good match, personally.
Do you think it depends?
And I
So
think he brings them back up.
if we just
Really?
touch on the game
Yeah.
quickly, so
I think he brings them back up.
they lost 2-1 to Manchester City at the head-to-head, which is not a
It's not a bad
it's
result.
not a bad result. I want to touch on the penalty incident. Obviously, Gundogan scored 2 goals.
Uh-huh.
Man City get given a penalty. Haaland is the penalty taker. Do you think it's a bit of arrogance that he gave the ball to Gundogan to get
No.
the hat trick?
No, no
No,
way.
at all.
No way.
Just based on
No,
the
at all.
time. So there was still a lot of the game to be played.
Nah,
And
man, that
Arsenal-
is arrogance. What are you lot
It's
talking
not
about?
not
Arrogance?
arrogance.
What do you mean?
It's
It's
not.
2-0.
Your
not.
teammate
You're
is on
2-0.
the
He's
hat
on a
trick.
hat trick.
Don't
So-
care.
That's not
Come
arrogance.
on, who cares?
What?
That's not arrogance, bro.
Yeah.
What do you
man.
mean?
That's not
Bruv,
arrogance.
did you see the rest of the match? They could have drawn.
That's not the rest of the match, but you don't
and
know
this
the
is
rest of the
why
goal.
I asked the question, because after he's missed, Pepper's got up and said to Haaland, "You are the penalty
That's
taker.
facts. For a
You
reason.
take the penalty."
Yeah, but it's a
And
different question, though.
That's done for a penalty. That's done for a
I
reason.
don't think that's arrogance.
I don't
though.
think it's arrogance.
I just think he's just gone. You're my teammate. You're on a
Exactly.
hattie. I mean, this is not. It's not every day he's on a
Exactly.
hattie.
Exactly.
Here you go.
I'm in the same camp as T. I'm like, we're going for the Premier League title,
Mm.
regardless whether you're on a hat trick or not. I'm the penalty taker.
Where's that ruthlessness that we associate with City?
This
Ruthlessness.
is it. Like,
Fam, the guy's got
it all-
35
But you want
goals.
to be a.
It don't matter. It don't matter,
You
bro.
barely broke the record already.
It felt a
No,
little bit too nice
but,
for the
yeah.
for the for
We're
the
playing
time.
Leeds.
But you're 2-0 up.
We're
You're at
playing
home.
Leeds. We're gonna probably get another 3. Don't worry, you have the penalty. Nah, bruv, this is the Prem.
We don't have that conversation if Gundogan puts it in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
we
expecting-
don't,
he's
but we
expecting
are
to
having
score.
we are having
It's not arrogance.
He's
bro.
expecting
not
him to
arrogant.
score.
You're helping your teammate out. He's on a hat trick. When does Gundogan
Exactly.
score hat tricks?
The reason why Haaland takes the penalties is because scores them.
But Haaland could have missed. Haaland could have taken it.
Yeah,
and
but it
missed.
don't matter. He's the
And he has
penalty
missed.
taker.
He's a penalty
He has
taker.
missed one as well.
Yeah, he's missed
He has
already.
missed
No, but what I'm saying is, it's arrogance because number one, you're 2-0 up, cruising, getting a penalty. That's 3-0, game done. Your mate's got 2 goals. Do you know what? Take the pen, man. It's only Leeds.
I think we're
Does he give away
already.
that?
Jay, what's your stance on this?
If it's 2-0 Arsenal, does he give that penalty to Gundogan? I don't think he does. So I actually think, I don't think it's over arrogant. I don't think it's Van Leeds, etc. But I do agree. When you first said that, now, but actually, as you talk to, I do agree that it's arrogance that allows you to feel comfortable making that decision. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because, you know, even if he had scored it, Pep's still having a word. If you're Pep, you're still having a word. Listen, that's well, all right, but don't do that again.
Yeah.
We haven't got room to slip up. And as much as things are wrapped up, they draw that game, yeah, you've given us a little bit of a window. And then all you got to do is lose another game. You know what I mean? So I do think that it's a little bit of subconscious arrogance that allows you to land it. I don't think if that's a quote unquote big game or a big team, I don't think Haaland gives away the penalty.
Wait, so you're saying if it's 2-0 to Man City versus Arsenal, Haaland doesn't give that pen to
No
Gundogan?
way. No way.
If it's 2-0 to Man City and Gundogan scored 2 goals.
Yes. He's not giving him that pen.
Wraps up the game.
That's you guys' opinion, but I personally feel
So you feel he'll give him the pen?
Bro, your teammate's on 2 goals. He
Doesn't
can score
matter.
a hat-trick.
He's done that because it was
We
Leeds.
just spoke about how penalties, the penalty taker, it's easier for him to score than to
So-
miss, right? He's probably seen Gundogan take penalties, think this guy can score. Let me give my boy a hat-trick.
Let me throw something out to you because you've questioned this person's mentality
This is a professional game.
over the season. Does Harry Kane give that to Son if Son's on 2 goals?
That's different mentalities, though. If Harry Kane wants to take, if Haaland wanted to take it because he's the penalty taker, he's got every right to take it. But if he wants to give it to his boy, unless he thinks, you know what, Pep's going to be cool with it, he can do that.
It's
If
gone
I'm the
against
manager-
instructions as well.
Only give that penalty over
Well,
as
if
the
it's
manager.
4-0 or 5-0.
As the manager, but if Pep didn't give that instruction that I'm letting you better take it regardless.
No, but he's a penalty
No,
taker.
he's the penalty taker.
And
I'm
he
not
said-
disputing that, but he's giving it. This is not the first time we've seen penalty takers give their fellow.
No, but I'm saying after the
teammate.
miss, Pep said, you are...
But it's after the miss, though.
Yeah.
Because
Well, that
he's
means-
missed.
After the fact.
No, but
he's
that means
missed.
before the miss, he's
All right, hold on.
expecting him
So
to
why
take
didn't
it.
Pep? When he's still Gundogan with the ball? Why didn't
No,
Pep?
you can't do that, though.
Right.
No,
You
because
can't know what he's
sometimes-
doing.
One voice.
Sometimes, sorry, sometimes you don't want to. That's like us being on the football pitch and Mark wants to take the penalty, but Daz
I'm
is
the
the penalty
penalty
taker. I'm not going to really force the thing
No, you're
because
mad.
it's right before the pen though. No, I feel like if someone's got the ball in their hand, they're going to take the penalty. I'm
And it
leaving
might
them
cause a
in
bit
it
of
because I
friction,
don't want to.
innit?
Yeah, because I don't want to mess things up because that
Bro,
gives them an out as
seen
well.
it, but we've seen it like
multiple times.
multiple
Yeah,
times
of
where a
course.
man picks up the ball and then the other man's signaling over to the gaffer.
Exactly.
You know what's going on here, and the
Multiple
gaffer's
times.
and then he walks back over,
Exactly.
takes the ball,
Exactly.
and says, "Right, I'm taking it. Go
Exactly.
go talk to your manager."
Exactly.
So yeah, that's
Well, I mean,
divided the room.
All I will say is Pep has been very clear in the past with other players as well.
Yeah.
When I have a penalty taker, he takes the penalty. This is not the first time we've seen it. So yeah, those examples are valid. But we're talking about Pep team here. This is not the first time. We saw it before, even with people like Mahrez, etc. When other people tried to take the penalty, even if they scored, he had something to say. So what Haaland did there, he's young, he will learn. But it does come from a place of, maybe if arrogance isn't the right word, I think they got a little bit lax, right? And all that stuff is clear. But Mark, we've talked about this before with manager instructions, didn't it?
Mm.
Yeah, there's logic and it's all of that. But manager instruction. Haaland would have been let known about that in the dressing room after. And Pep, even when people have scored before, he said it. He said, I don't care if you scored. We have rules for a reason. So even if Gundogan has scored, they'd be like, okay, you got lucky today, but you got a penalty taken for a reason. Take the penalties.
That's fair. I agree with
it, you know what I'm
that.
saying?
My penalty taker should, if I'm the manager, you're the penalty taker, you take it. But to Keith's question, it's not arrogance. It's
But
nowhere
ultimately,
near arrogance.
ultimately, it didn't cost them. They got the victory.
Can we talk about Sam's tactics?
Yeah, so
That one talked about in the news and how he's gonna put a plan together to stop this City and
Listen.
because he's
bring
on
me-
par with
listen.
Pep
right.
and Arteta.
that 2-1
Right.
result it's a all right result for them.
You think
Yes, yes,
that speaks highly of
course,
Big
they
Sam?
could have lost by 6-7. They could have absolutely got blown away, and they didn't.
Yeah,
So that
he made a
sets
big
up-
call. He dropped. Is it Musiala, the goalkeeper?
Yeah.
He has
Or Meslier.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
Meslier, yeah. Standard for me, innit?
Ayla.
Standard for me. Dropped
Wow.
the keeper. Went to a back four
Oh,
that Leeds haven't played for a while. So he set the team up in a Big Sam way, essentially. And like I said, leaving the Etihad with a 2-1 result is not the end of the world. That was City.
It wasn't City's best team as well.
Yeah.
And when you, well, I think De Bruyne weren't playing.
Come
There was-
on,
So?
bro. This
No,
is
De Bruyne
No,
did.
but there
Weren't
weren't there a few changes.
The point of
Bro,
difference.
City
it
with
don't
the
matter
No
who
De
they
Bruyne, no
change.
Stones.
Yeah, there was.
Okay.
Doesn't mean it's not their
Diaz
best team, though,
Diaz
bro.
wasn't
No
playing.
Diaz.
It might not be their
Lads,
quote unquote
that's-
starting
that's-
11, but come on, bro.
But when
Come on, bro. That second
Yeah.
team probably come third in this league.
you know,
Probably
but
come third in this league.
Weakened team City doesn't really wash.
But
with,
when you're talking about
like
things like
everyone else.
arrogance, the things like the penalties, is it little things like that where the manager's not picked
Exactly.
the best team?
That's
Oh, this is not that this game isn't as important as
That's how
the Real Madrid game. Is that does he start that?
That's how
no, not.
Definitely
I don't
big
think
round of
so
applause.
because City have always rotated from the start of the season. So you can't say, oh, it's not their best team. Because if you said to me, what's City's best team now? I don't think the majority of the people outside of Manchester City know what their best team
But
is.
that is more arrogance than what Haaland did.
I agree.
KDB
Yeah,
I don't
did
think
play
so
as
at all.
well.
Then that-
KDB
He starts-
played as
he
well.
starts
Yeah,
from the,
KDB did play.
okay, fair enough. He played, but let's be honest, it was not. If that's Arsenal or it's Real Madrid,
Exactly.
he's not walking out with that team. He's not
Exactly.
putting that team out.
Exactly. He's not.
Yeah, but he's put out a team to win the game.
But he
and
can
they've
put
done
out that team to beat Leeds
And that's what
by
he done.
far.
But that's the arrogance of it, though.
It is arrogance.
That he knows he can put out a lesser team to beat Leeds.
No, not really, because they've got a congested fixture list. He has to make changes. He has to rotate.
Not that many changes.
Why,
I
bro?
think he does, 'cause-
Mahrez,
Not that many
KDB, Foden, Haaland, Alvarez,
It's
Rico
a good
Lewis,
team.
Gundogan.
When does Alvarez start?
Laporte,
When does
Ake,
Alvarez start?
Akanji.
Rico
That's-
Lewis.
When does Alvarez start?
You lot are
Rico
going
Lewis.
mad. So you're saying this is a weak Man
It's not
City
a
team?
weak
It's a
team.
weaker team.
It's a
No,
weakened
it's not.
team. It's not a weak team.
When you see his team tomorrow, is it going to be like that? Same as that?
No
Alvarez
chance.
ain't starting.
Yeah, but
Bro.
you've always got to have your forward.
But he has a congested fixture list though, so he has to rotate. Right?
His only two strikers are who?
Haaland and Thingy
Alvarez. When in top games does he start his two strikers, his two options? Never.
But he's got the luxury of being able to rest players. But I don't think that's arrogant because you have the luxury to rest players against.
Wait,
He's looked
he
at the
can't be-
thing. He's gone this Leeds. He knows they're not going to attack.
Yeah, come on, man.
They're not going to attack. They're
It's-
probably
it's
going to have
Leeds
a
with Big
very
Sam.
low
It is a
low
bit
block.
Leeds with Big Sam.
They're going to have a very low block.
that means
So-
anything. Yeah.
Go on,
He-
go on,
so-
go on.
So he's just gone boom.
Martha, is it arrogance for using a very expensively assembled squad? I don't understand.
No, but
No,
it's still a weakened team. We're saying it's a weakened team.
That's not a weekend team to play
It's
Leeds.
not a weak. You lot are hanging on to this weak
Rico
one.
Lewis.
It's a weaker side than the team that would start
Okay, so
against Arsenal.
you got a congested fixture list. You see Leeds, yeah,
And you start your
And you
two
think-
strikers.
right. I need to
Bro,
rotate a little bit. Whatever. That's the game I'm gonna rotate.
it's a bit of arrogance.
It's arrogant.
All right, we're hanging on this point too much.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
That's
that victory
Madness.
was Manchester City's 9th league win in a row.
Crazy.
It had to start at some point. You kept banging on about it, innit? So
We did. So with Arsenal beating Newcastle, there's only a 1 point gap in it at the minute. So that kind of forces Pep's hand. So they've got Real Madrid tomorrow. Their next game is against Everton. If Arsenal had dropped points against Newcastle, you could have said they could afford to play a weaker team against Everton.
Mhm.
Do you think now he plays a stronger team against Everton after Real Madrid, or do you think he plays a similar team that he played against Leeds? Bear in mind, the game's at Goodison Park.
the way they played today, Everton, he's not playing that team that he put out against Leeds. I promise you.
He is. He'll play the same team.
Well, good luck to him then.
I think he'll play that same
Good luck to him
weakened
then.
team.
Good luck.
But
to him.
obviously, it depends as well on the Madrid result in the first leg.
Mm.
Yeah.
Depends
Yeah,
on how
yeah,
that
yeah.
tie is looking. But if
Yeah.
that tie is in the balance, which I expect it to be, with it being at the Bernabeu the first leg, I expect the same sort of team as what he played against Leeds.
Okay, and just to wrap up this title talk quickly, just to the Arsenal guys in the room, does it go down to the last game of the season? Yes or no, T?
Yes.
Mark?
I'm going to say it goes down to. I think.
Yes or no? Does it go to what?
No. No.
You're saying no.
No.
That's,
No.
It goes,
yes or no?
No.
Does it go to May 28th?
No.
Yes or
It's
no?
not an easy question to
It
answer.
is,
bro.
it is.
was.
It
It's
is.
not. It's not. It's not.
City got the game against City got the game against Brighton, which is in the midweek.
I just want a yes or no.
It goes to the Thursday.
I've just said no.
So that's the 25th
Okay,
or
it
whatever.
goes to the
Yeah,
birthday.
it goes-
Coca, does it go to the 28th of May? The title challenge or title race?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Isaac, just for bands.
No.
Cool. Right, just moving into the Champions League spots now. So it's been a bit of a interesting kind of development over the weekend. So Liverpool been on a good run. Won 6 league games in a row now. Beat Brentford at home. First time they've beaten Brentford, I think, since they've been back in the Premiership. If I'm not
wow.
wrong. Yeah,
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah, they've done really well against Liverpool.
What, home and away?
Yeah, they've done really well against us
Wow.
since they've been up. I know I've alluded earlier. Trent show played really well again. He started with Gakpo, Nunes, Diaz, and Salah, and Jota. Done the 4 of them up front, didn't he? No, Darwin, Gakpo, Diaz, and Salah. Gakpo was in the 10. Yeah.
It's true. It was.
I was quite surprised at how attacking it was, but I think it worked really well. Especially Gakpo. I liken Gakpo to Firmino.
Do you think he's an
A
adequate
little
cover or
Gakpo
replacement?
for Firmino?
Yeah.
Massively. And we've seen glimpses of it so far this season, and I think we'll see more of it next season.
Yes,
Go,
John.
go, John.
John, yeah.
What did you just say?
So he's not a ready like for like replacement, but he will get there. So if you look at some of his performances,
Hey, what's that wall behind you as you moonwalk, bro? What's
no,
that?
I'm not moonwalking. I think he will get there sooner rather than later. Gakpo he can hold the ball, he can drive with it. His passing range is good. I'm gonna say it out loud. I'm putting my chips on Gakpo. All in.
Well, you might need to give Bobby more respect.
This
No.
is it, man.
I'm not saying he's ready
I'm
now.
not dissing Gakpo.
I'm not saying he's ready
dissing
now,
Gakpo.
but Bobby wasn't the final form until Klopp really came. Under Brendan, you didn't really see what Bobby was about.
Nah, he had him out on the left.
I know, but you still didn't.
He was treating
never
him
looked
like,
at him and was like, "Oh yeah, he's gonna do what he went on to do."
But no, but you could see
Under Brendan,
You could see he had something, though.
I can see it in Gakpo.
Let me distinguish the two.
Wow.
Okay, so he might not do it the same way Bobby would do it, right? I'll give you that lifeline. So I guess what you're saying is the output you get from him is someone in that 10 who kind of joins between your kind of DM and CM and the strikers. He wouldn't do it in the way Bobby would. I don't see that from him at the moment. I actually think he needs to sharpen up and become a more effective inside forward.
I agree.
But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm not watching him enough.
He's only been there 4 months. But yeah, I think
which
he'll
is
do
4
well.
months too early for your proclamation. But hey,
Yeah.
Hey, I'm putting my chips in.
all right.
Darwin had a couple chances. I know Darwin is like Marmite. You either love him or you hate him. I think the majority of the room hate him.
No, I'm a
like him.
Darwin fan. Yeah, I think he's a good player.
So,
I like him, bro.
Yeah, I think
I
he's
like
a good
him.
player.
I'm still not sold.
yeah,
He's
I
funny.
think-
He's just funny.
I think
Funny
the fact
guy.
that he's the fact that he's called Chaos.
By who?
Everyone,
Wait, they call him Chaos.
yeah, because that's what he brings when he plays. Like you don't know what he's gonna
Yeah.
do.
Do you know what he reminds me of? You know when you used to kick ball, right? And there's that one guy that would turn up.
Moving nuts. Don't know what he's gonna do, bro.
Oh my days.
Mad fouls.
Yeah. He's just everywhere.
Bro, you see,
Just full of
you see
energy.
Robbie
So you-
Savage. If Robbie Savage died and came back as a striker, he'd be down anyway.
Oh my
Oh,
days.
God.
I mean, that's a bit harsh, but I hear what you're saying.
No,
He's
what
got
I mean is
potential.
no one liked him. No one liked him, but every manager loved having him in his team, right?
Yeah.
Let's be honest. No one liked playing against him. No one liked him as a villain. If Nunes sharpens up his finishing, he's going to be a joke because he's got everything.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
much.
He literally
He
does.
gets in the
Yeah.
right places. He gives you energy, but his finishing isn't great.
He makes things happen. Like when he's on the pitch, you feel like something's gonna happen around him just because of the way that he's 100 miles an hour. But as John says, if he can rein it in a little bit and actually get his finishing right, I think he'll score loads of goals.
Do you know what, right? This is just even thinking it, it's a bit wild. He reminds me, right, of poor man's Fernando Torres, right? No, see, this is why I said it's going to wild, but let me explain it.
Liverpool man are making mad calls.
No. Let me land. If you watched Fernando Torres when he arrived at Liverpool, he was like Nunes, like all action. Like, I remember his first game against Chelsea, and he put John Terry on toast for that goal, for that second goal.
Yeah.
He was literally just running man down. The same energy, the same presence, but he was way more technical. He could finish. He had a touch. Nunes is doing that. He's that physical presence. He just doesn't have the touch or the technical ability to finish. He gives me that energy. If I actually sit down and think about it and be like, all right, let me just take him in. He actually gives.
I think he's a little bit like Isaac. Do you think he's a little bit like Jesus? So if Nunes bought himself an extra 1 second or 1 or 2 seconds on these chances, I think he would score more goals.
Nah,
whereas
he does that and he's still reckless.
Jesus is way more technical ability.
Yeah, way more.
And how many strikers have we seen coming at this level? And we always say their finishing gets better. Can we remember any, but their finishing did get better? Can we actually remember any? They got to Liverpool or on Arsenal, Man United. The only person I can think of was they said miss a lot of chances and then got better was Andy Cole. I can't remember anyone else. This might be it.
Forlan?
Yeah, Forlan's not a bad show.
He didn't cut it at United. Forlan.
No, he got better.
No, but I'm saying he got better.
Yeah, but that better wasn't good. But yeah, that moved Liverpool to 62 points. So 1 point behind Manchester United. Man United have a game in hand. And 3 points behind Newcastle, who have a game in hand. So let's go to the Man United game. Yesterday against West Ham.
I saw.
So, you know what? I could throw this out to anyone in this room because everyone's been waiting, rubbing their hands, to talk about Man United this week. So, West Ham 1-0 winners, an error from DDG. Someone in our group chat claimed that this was the best goalkeeper in the league, and they were vehemently shot down. So, Jay, go first. We touched on Man United a little bit already. What was wrong yesterday?
I'm going to take it from a slightly different angle. Big up to West Ham, right? Because they needed to get the result. They needed to get themselves out of trouble. We talked about them last week, about grabbing that result. So I don't think we gave them much hope in this one. But the problem we've had with De Gea, I mean, someone mentioned that, I think, as I feel you, that look, he's in line for the Golden Glove.
Yeah.
The problem is when you're in that position, when you're making mistakes like that, and then your team doesn't do anything else in the game to balance that out, it's always going to be a problem, right? Because should that West Ham game have ended 1-0, that mistake shouldn't have been what cost him the game. It did, and he shouldn't have made the mistake.
Yeah.
But with a team of that talent, with those players, that mistake shouldn't have been what cost him the game.
Beat me to it.
I'm pulling
receipts
team up now.
Wait.
Letting him go.
Wait. But when I say talent, relative to West Ham, are you telling me that he doesn't have enough at his disposal?
Yeah, like for like, you would say Man United have a better team than West Ham.
Of course. So yeah, but David De Gea, I'm sorry, for what a top, Premier League chasing, Champions League winning team need as a keeper, he clearly is not doing what they need consistently enough. Yes, they have other issues to fix, but there's no point having a keeper who's good at his feet passing the ball out to Maguire. We're not going to have that conversation again. But there's no point. There's no point in having that. So yes, they need to fix that. But the keeper, they need to go and get whoever their version of Alisson is going to be. You know, when Alisson landed at Liverpool, it's a massive difference.
Yeah. So you say that
made a difference to us.
But the reports coming out today is that he's going to get offered another 1 year contract.
He is.
So
but I understand that that's more about stability. They're looking to have a new number one.
Okay. So
they're looking to have a new number one.
Last summer, Henderson left. He felt he was good enough to be Manchester United's number one at the time. Ten Hag didn't. Went to Nottingham Forest. Doesn't seem to be able to get in the Nottingham Forest team now because they've signed Navas. So are you saying that? So, okay, my question is the goalkeeper a priority signing for Manchester United this year?
What? It should be.
No.
I don't think so.
It should be.
Otherwise, they wouldn't have offered him a 1 year extension.
So what?
Yeah, it won't be, but it should be.
What are their priority positions, Isaac?
Everywhere.
Oh, where'd you start?
Everywhere.
Literally, he can't be number one next year. Even if he cannot be staying and not be number one.
Yeah,
that's impossible.
Who's going to be number one? Jack Butland.
Because he's one of the top earner, if not the top owner at the club.
Let's say it's on a reduced terms actually. So that he's willing to stay.
He's willing to stay on less money.
On less money.
And be number two.
Yes.
We don't know whether he'll be number one or number two, but he said whatever contract he signs, it will be on less money than what he's on now.
Okay. That's interesting. But I can't see him willing to stay and being number two. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with him.
I don't think he's got much choice, but I do think in
maybe
terms
it's
of priority,
mutually beneficial.
Yeah, I was gonna say in terms of he doesn't play for Spain anymore. I understand. Does he?
No, he hasn't been in
for a long time.
Exactly. So, and if you leave Man United, what you get? Because he's not getting he's not getting Barca.
This is it.
So
a mid-level Spanish team.
He's been at a top club for most of his career. It's calm. If they pay him the money, don't care where he goes.
Exactly.
A lot of his performances look like he doesn't care as well.
I'm not gonna lie to you. You see when he let that goal in, and then he stood up and he started doing that. You know the fake. Man.
Proper.
And the thing is, the shot. It was more of a pass.
It was like a back pass. It was like a back pass. Yeah. I don't know what. I don't know how he let that in.
And you've got to think that to get a top quality goalkeeper now, and I don't know who the top goalkeepers are out there at the minute. You'd be spending upwards of 50, 60 million, and Man United don't
more in Man United's case.
Man United don't spend that.
I think 80, 90
this summer. If you're like Isaac and Dad are saying, they've got to address a lot of other areas in your team. You don't want the bulk of your transfer.
Furthermore, they've got to address even who's owning the club.
Yeah,
I think there's a whole lot going on at that club, and that. Are they really going to dish out money this year? Are they really going to dish out money this year?
Can I just say that I think they're in trouble for top four. I think they're in trouble. I think they're in trouble.
So with Newcastle losing to Arsenal, you'd say the last kind of 2 Champions League spots out of the 3 teams of Newcastle, Man United, and Liverpool. A quick round the room. Who's getting the last 2 spots? What 2 teams? Pressure on again. Putting you man on the spot today, so we can refer back to it in future.
I need to see the fixtures, but
I can tell you the fixtures.
Yeah, please.
So while he's
Leicester,
doing that,
Aston Villa and Southampton.
Huh? Who?
That's Liverpool's running.
Liverpool has who? Sorry,
Leicester
away.
Leicester away.
Yeah.
Villa at home.
Yeah.
Southampton away.
Yeah.
They should win all of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Man U, they have. I don't know why I'm laughing. Man U have Wolves at home, Bournemouth away, Chelsea at home, Fulham at home.
Okay.
And Newcastle have got Leeds away, Brighton at home, and Leicester at home. And then they finish off with
Chelsea, I think
Chelsea
it is.
Away.
Chelsea's the last game.
away.
So my only thing with Man United is they're not playing anyone who's fighting for their lives. Bournemouth are safe, basically. Chelsea are safe. Fulham are safe. And that's,
So who are your 2 picks?
Wolves.
All right, go on, Jay. He's still thinking. Who's your 2 picks?
I'm going to go for, as it is now, I think I'm going to go for Newcastle United. Actually.
And
who?
And Man United. As is.
I'm going to go Newcastle and Manchester United.
That's hate.
As much as I would love for Liverpool to pip it.
That's hate.
I don't see the
God,
I just said he'd love for Liverpool to pip it.
No, that's hate.
Isaac, go on. Your 2.
Do you know what this? I'm just going to do a mark quickly. I'll be very quick.
No,
I'll be very quick.
Your 2, because everyone ridiculed me.
Do you know what this reminds me of? Klopp's first season when he came in and we stole 4th spot on the last day. Wijnaldum's goal.
Yeah.
So we're in that spirit.
Who was that from? Who did you steal it from?
Probably Arsenal, bro.
No, it wasn't Arsenal.
Nah, it was
Tottenham or Arsenal? I think it was Tottenham.
Tottenham.
Might have been Tottenham.
Yeah.
Last
I
day.
think it was Tottenham.
Yeah. Coutinho went out.
Isaac, do you know what I think your issue is? That Villa game.
No,
I don't think that Villa game's an easy one.
We'll deal with them. I think it's going to be Newcastle and Liverpool.
I think Newcastle and Man United I think them home games will get them over the line.
Haters, man.
No, they got them
There is
easy
no
home
home
games.
games
Go on, Mark.
for United.
I've been saying it, and the last pod is a receipt, and previous pods, I've been saying to Coca, Liverpool are going to catch United. And everyone's been saying, oh, but Man United got this game, that game, they're this much points. Liverpool are going to catch United, so I'm going Newcastle, Liverpool.
My God.
For Banner, I would love it because you already know them. You know where we're going to. If Manchester United drop out of that top four,
Flop City.
I think what's
The group chat is
It's going to get on fire. The man might have to leave.
Bruv, they've already left, innit? They've been silent, bruv.
Silent.
I ain't heard from them.
Silent.
Bruv.
But when you look at the fixtures, when you look at the facts, it would be a monumental crumble, man. It would be a real bad crumble, bro. They got a game in hand as well. One point ahead and a game in hand.
Biggest
Come on, man.
biggest bottle of the season, Arsenal or Man United.
If they don't
Man
get Champions
United.
League, Man United.
We'll come back to that.
Man
T.
Get
United.
it? But you're a bad man for that, though.
T, give me your team.
I like how you done that, but right, I'm gonna start off by saying,
Which two teams you want?
yeah, Newcastle and Liverpool.
I'm going to be a bit controversial. I'm going to say United and Liverpool.
United and Liverpool.
Wow.
I think Newcastle.
Really?
I think Newcastle might.
United,
What,
who
over
can't,
United?
who can't even get a point away from home.
Over
They're gonna
United.
drop points. They're gonna drop points.
Who are?
United are gonna drop points.
Yeah.
Against Fulham and Chelsea.
Chelsea, nah.
I think the only team Man
Chelsea,
United
though.
are beating are Wolves, and that's it. Every other team, I think they'll be losing the other games.
Right, so moving on to a couple of the other fixtures from the weekend. Tottenham beat Crystal Palace 1-0. Harry Kane, another goal,
Who else?
another milestone.
Let's not go there.
So, is he clear from Rooney now, or is he level with Rooney in
He's
the
one.
order?
I think he's one
One ahead?
One ahead.
So,
One ahead, yeah.
so he's second.
Pointless goals, isn't it, though?
Mm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So they say. I didn't see the game. Anyone got much to say on the Tottenham?
Dead game. Good goal. That was about it.
Yeah, I saw the goals, but that was about it.
I say they give Mason the job.
You never know. No one knows what's
Might as
going
well
on.
give me the job at this bloody rate.
But they have played better, though, with
Yeah.
under Mason, to be honest.
Yeah, that is
Okay,
true.
just to touch on something quickly. I mean, that's is that Palace's first game against opposition above them since Hodgson's come in?
Good shout.
Let's have a quick-
Good shout.
Mm.
Patrick Vieira, get your job back.
Let's have a look at the results.
Is that their first game?
Yeah, so they played West Ham last week. They was above them. They was above Wolves, even though Wolves beat
They
them.
lost the Wolves,
Yeah,
though,
they
innit?
lost to Wolves, but they were above Wolves, and everyone else was below them. So yeah, that's the first
Okay.
one.
Oh, interesting.
But
very-
yeah,
keep an
like
eye
I
on
say,
that
they
one.
lost to Wolves as well. So
I mean, I know it's end of season, so it's kind of
Yeah.
hard to gauge. And
Yeah.
I mean, Palace are not really playing for anything. Spurs are just a joke.
Ouch.
So yeah,
I'm slightly upset we can't give Frank another kick in, to be honest. But if I watched the extended highlights of this game, and Bournemouth were pretty unlucky. They had chances when it was 1-1.
can I just
Go
ask
ahead.
why is Kante swinging in crosses from the right wing?
That's where Frank wants him to play.
Frank's trying to find where
Lampard ball.
Kante's best position is.
That's like
Yeah.
Lampard ball.
And to be fair, I think with Kante, you can't really expect him to do what he was doing early Chelsea days and Leicester days where he was running all over the pitch.
So the alternative is to move him out to right wing.
Well, Frank seems to have done that, and he's getting
I hear
assists.
it.
He got
I
his
hear
3
it.
points. He
Yeah,
got 3
I hear
points.
it.
Got his
Come on, we
3
got to give.
Hear it.
We haven't got
And-
Frank. We got to give him his flowers
got
when he
his
gets the
assist.
results.
I know, yeah.
So
What flowers?
Yeah.
What? Because he won one game in 7. Get out, man.
To be
I
fair,
think
they
for me,
go on.
I was gonna say that my thing with Chelsea is there's certain players that I want to see do well in it. Anywhere Raheem Sterling is, as long as it doesn't impact Arsenal, I want to see him do well at picture. But I mean, looking at the rest of their season, if you look, they got how many games left? They got oh gosh, yeah, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4 games left. Forrest they should win, but let's see. Then they play City, not winning that. They play United. Even United's not letting them win that. Then they play Newcastle. So he might end up getting to the end of the season with 1 win in 11 games.
But like we said, we don't know what his task was. Like, was he
It
told
wasn't to
come in?
lose 10
Was he
games.
told to come in and just get the feel-good factor back. Hasn't really done that, to be honest. Or it did for
Exactly.
a few hours when he was announced. But
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think finally they can't get relegated. That's fine. I didn't see the game, so I don't know if this was a win that was cobbled together or there was actually some kind of, progressive play. It looked like there was a bit of a cohesive system. I'm not sure. So 3 points is 3 points. Assuring not be relegated should not have been something of note for Brent Lampard coming to this team and this club.
Yeah,
but we are where we are.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do along with Tottenham in terms of management going into the summer.
And I had a interesting conversation in a week about, just quickly on the transfer policy, because we make light of jokes today, results, etc. But it's going to be probably one of the more interesting things to look at in the preseason, because you've got players who are on very long contracts. So the wage may be low, but they're on very long contracts. The team performance has been poor. So what can you sell them for? And they might be all right for loaning, because when the club take them on loan, the wages aren't so high, etc. It's just going to be really interesting to see what they do. The squad they've got, they're going to want to bring players in. How they manage all of that. I mean, we've all got onto Eddie and Arteta for their transfer dealings over a couple of years. They've got two directors, they've got a co-director of football. Never seen that either. So they've got two directors of football. So we really just see how they manage that pre-season period. I can't wait to see all that revolving door, because the way that training ground looking like killed him.
The final result from Saturday was Wolves 1, Aston Villa 0. Slightly surprised at that result for me. I thought Villa would have at least come away with a point in that game. Moving on to today's fixtures in the Premiership. Very, very
Crazy
active.
fixtures.
Very active.
Yeah, crazy results.
First game was Fulham v Leicester. Ended up 5-3 to Fulham, which puts Leicester in a bit of trouble. So I'll just go through these results and then we'll have a quick look. I'll talk about the bottom of the table. So Willian scored a couple goals today. Vardy scored and missed a penalty.
Vardy's still knocking about.
Yeah. No, sorry, Vardy didn't score, sorry. Apologies. He just missed a penalty. Harvey Barnes got 2. Maddison got 1.
Easy, you said.
Pardon?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
It's not hard,
easy.
he said.
Oh. Kinda like you don't make mistakes, my friend. So I'm guessing no one was surprised at Fulham beating Leicester at Craven Cottage.
Nah.
The man of the result surprising though.
Yeah, the man of the
5-3,
result.
I mean,
Yeah.
How are you letting in 3 goals at home to a team
How
like
are
Leicester?
Leicester so bad, man?
Yeah, they haven't won in 3 games.
There's not
So-
been any investment.
Yeah.
Do you think it's just that, though?
No,
Yeah.
I mean, come on. It's been the same players for how long?
You have
No
to freshen it
investment.
up.
They're getting
You have
tired,
to
yeah.
freshen it
They
up.
got
but-
quality in that squad though.
No.
But they've been
Vardy-
literally
they-
bad since the beginning of
Yeah.
the first game of the season.
Just haven't got-
Since
but
their
no, but
title
I
winning
think-
squad, right? Since their title winning squad, key players have gone. Wes Morgan went. Who did they replace him with? Jamie Vardy's gotten old. They've
Fofana.
not replaced. They've not. And where's he gone?
Chelsea.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But he
So
was
there's
bad.
not. They've not been no replacement.
Soyuncu had a good run.
Soyuncu's just got a new
Yeah.
contract with another club,
Yeah,
so he's leaving. I think it's Atletico
Where's he
Madrid.
going?
Yeah.
Atletico
Yeah.
Madrid.
I'm surprised.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm
So
surprised.
He's on the beach.
there's been no.
Yeah, but these
key
players were there at the beginning of the season. And
investment.
To Daz's point, they've been bad since the very first whistle.
No,
Yeah,
but they had a really
no
good spell
investment.
before the World Cup, and the World Cup interrupted them. And then since they come back
Nah,
to
that's
the
no
World Cup,
excuse, man. They've just got-
no,
they've
but
reverted
like,
part
that's
of
what
it,
I'm
though.
saying. They haven't
They
been
did.
bad
It's part
throughout
of it.
the whole season. But I'd say the biggest surprise of the day: 5:30 kickoff. Brighton 1, Everton 0.
That's
That's a
mad.
mad result.
Come on, Everton. Come on, Everton.
Everton
What?
5.
What was the
Everton
score?
5. Everton 5.
5-1,
Wait, what did you
bro.
say the score was, bro?
I said Everton
5-1 to Everton.
I didn't clock.
What did Keith say though?
What did
I
you
said
say?
Brighton 1, Everton 5.
No, yeah. You
Ah,
You said Everton 0.
You said
Sorry.
Everton 0. You did.
Oh, apologies.
What?
Hey, Mark.
What did I
Clip,
miss?
Yeah. So I don't know if anyone watched the game, but Everton were really good on the counter attack.
They were.
No, they were.
Like
They
in
were.
the first half.
Like Mighty Ducks.
And, and the it's not even a surprising stat. They had 4 shots on target and scored 5 goals.
That's mad.
Wow.
That's crazy.
So it was a real kind of Sean Dyche tactical masterclass, kind of soak up the pressure. Because Brighton had a lot of the ball. They were trying, but they just kept on getting picked off. And it was, 3-0 at half time.
I think Brighton have played a lot of games. Well, obviously everyone has, but Brighton have been I think the energy is just diminishing. I think that this is probably going to be them towards the end of the season now.
You
I
think
can't
they're
really think-
sailing out now?
Yeah, I can't see them famous last
Don't you
word.
think it's a one-off that some teams have in the Premiership? Like
That
everyone
is-
has like the weird result.
That looks like a one-off.
Yeah, to
It
me,
is
that-
definitely a one-off
that's a shock.
result, but in terms of them potentially losing another game 2-0 or the next two games, I won't be surprised.
Yeah, but they have got City, so they might.
They got to play Arsenal.
They got Arsenal next
They've got
game.
Arsenal as
Yeah.
well.
They got to play
so-
Newcastle too.
It's
For me,
tough
that's such a
games.
shock.
They just look tired to me, man. They just look very tired.
Before, that was their last game, Man United, when they beat them.
Yeah.
And I thought
that
they
was
played
that
well.
hard. It was-
I personally think it
Thursday.
might have been arrogance for real.
You think so?
Yeah.
They've
They've looked
Everton
at
side.
they've looked at it and gone, it's Everton.
Nah, they can't do it. That's an arrogance.
They've looked ahead to the next fixture and gone, that's the one.
Yeah, mentality thing there. I
Yeah,
agree,
could be.
and also that game against Man United, it would have been draining as well. 99 minutes, all of that
Exactly.
stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's the difference between a team like Brighton being here consistently every season and not. Like, it's all well and good having good results, but you've got to be able to do the thing consistently all the way through, despite certain things. And they're kind of showing that now. And De Zerbi knows it, and that's why Keith, as you said earlier, outside of before we started recording, that De Zerbi told his players, "There's no point being Man United over there if you don't win this game." And
Yeah.
look, it's all for nothing.
Very true. So yeah, I think a few betting slips would have been ruined by that. I don't know if you saw it, Dwight McNeil's goal. Started celebrating before he put in the net.
Is it?
Yeah.
He rounded the keeper in the empty net. So.
When Martinelli did that, though.
Yeah.
Not everything's about Arsenal.
Yeah,
bro.
Yeah, it was true, though. No one's going to say nothing about this, though. But when Martinelli's doing it,
And the last game of the evening, Nottingham Forest 4, Southampton 3.
That was a real shocker.
I don't think so.
No,
Southampton
I
have
mean
been really
the
bad.
scoreline. The
Oh,
scoreline.
okay.
The scoreline.
But it was like a last minute penalty as well, so it's
Yeah.
more like a 4-2. Innit?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Ward-Prowse.
I was like, you gotta love it when teams that couldn't hit a barn door, they meet each other, they just start slapping.
Goals
slapping
after
goals.
goals. bro. Turns into the game of the day.
Yeah, Nottingham Forest had a goal disallowed as well.
So is that Southampton gone now?
Pretty
So,
much.
Yeah, let's do a quick
Pretty much.
run of the table.
Yeah, they're 6 points behind. So
So Southampton are bottom with 24. Everton are on 32. So I think it's pretty much safe to say that Southampton are gone. Then you've got Leeds, played 35, 30 points. Leicester, played 35, 30 points. Everton, played 35, 32 points. Nottingham Forest, played 35, 33 points. West Ham are in 15.
I think the only reason
37. So I think it's two from, or if we say Southampton are down, I'd say it's two from Forest, Everton, Leicester and Leeds to go down.
Two from
because
four.
they're 8 points from Everton, but there's 9 points to play. That's the only reason they're back on the plan.
Yeah,
Still in it, right?
yeah.
So
but-
they'd have to win 3 games
and hope.
and Everton lose all 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
I
can't
think
really see-
next fixture,
They'll be
or whatever
mathematically
happens,
done.
they're gone.
That's
Yeah.
the
As long as
massive
Everton
win.
and Forest.
Massive win for Everton. That
Yeah.
massive.
Yeah. And
massive.
Forest as well. Like, I think Forest are quite lucky
Yeah.
they played Southampton when
At
they
this
did.
point, yeah.
Yeah.
it's
so-
a massive win for Everton, yeah, but it doesn't really change what could potentially happen. They're only 2 points ahead of Leeds and Leicester. Right?
Yeah, but they might not even get 2 points, Leeds and Leicester for the
Exactly.
season.
So it's now in their hands.
Yeah.
I think it's a massive win in the context. It's now in their hands.
I remember one game sends them above Everton. If Everton lose and those two teams win,
But that means it's in Everton's hands, though. Right?
it is in Everton's hands. But I don't think, my point is, it's a big win, but it doesn't really change their potential plight.
No, but Mark, I think you're right. But I think mathematically it doesn't change much. But when you're down there, the ability of saying, if I do all the right things in my games, I'm cool. It's such a big game changer to say, well, if I win, I need this person to lose, or I need this person to draw. You know them ones. So mathematically, you're right. But I think what they've bought is the steering wheel, innit? They got the steering wheel. They're not in the passenger seat or at the back,
Who's
or in
Everton's
another
next game?
car entirely.
Man City.
There you go. Who's Leicester's next game?
No, but
Liverpool.
Leicester are
But
down.
Leicester just lost
Liverpool.
5.
They got
Like, They
Liverpool.
just lost 5. How many?
They got Liverpool,
Okay,
Newcastle.
who's Leeds' next game?
Newcastle. What's that?
See, look, Leicester
Listen,
and Leeds might
all
not
of those teams
might not
should
get
lose.
2 points.
But
They
you
might
never
not-
know.
All of those teams should lose, but you just never know.
That win might keep them up. That win today might have kept them up.
It might
That's
have. I just
true.
think it's too
Yeah.
close.
Right.
Because if they all 3 of them lose that game, they're all in the same point. So yeah, a bit of the driving seat. But yeah, Nottingham Forest, all the players they pull, they're 3 points ahead of Leicester now, with 3 games to go. But against, I think Nottingham Forest have done very well. That win, forget Everton, to a certain extent, that win for Nottingham Forest is massive, absolutely massive. They won't catch West Ham unless something crazy happens, but they definitely put themselves here in the driving seat. And just the last one on the Everton game, did Sean Dyche do what Sam wanted to do? So did he execute the block of 5 and then counter attack, and it worked? Maybe that's probably what Sam's going to try and do at Leeds as well.
Yeah,
against the Leicester team,
they like say if they had 4 shots on target, 1-5-1. The counter attacking was good as well. They were breaking really well. So yeah, that wraps up.
Anomaly anyway.
Yeah, so that wraps up the Premiership results and fixtures. Before we go on to our last topic, just going to do a roundup of the EFL, the ups and downs. So in the Championship, the champions were Burnley. Automatic promotion went to Sheffield United. So I think it's quite good Sheffield United being back in the Premier League. Playoffs positions go to Luton, Middlesbrough, Coventry and Sunderland. Sunderland made the last playoff spot on goal difference. So it's a bit fraught today. And those who were relegated, Wigan, Blackpool and Reading. It's interesting. Reading were deducted 6 points due to failure to comply to a business plan agreed after historical breaches of the EFL profit and sustainability limits. So they were deducted 15 points last season. So whatever they did this season, they didn't adhere to the practices put in place because they got deducted 15 points last season. And if they never got deducted those 6 points, they would still be in the league. So, yeah. Also, Wigan were deducted 3 points for failing to pay players, but they would have gone down anyway.
Yeah, Wigan would have been bro.
League One, Plymouth champions. Ipswich were second. That went down to the last day. Playoff positions were Sheffield Wednesday, Barnsley, Bolton and Peterborough. Derby missed out on goal difference, and I don't know if anyone saw, but they got Curtis Davies sent off.
I saw that.
Half.
That was disgraceful. That was disgraceful.
It was. I'm not saying it wasn't a penalty, but it should never have been a red card.
It was never a red card.
Yeah,
it was very harsh.
Yeah, I think they can be harshly done by. Relegated from League One, Forest Green, Accrington, Morecambe and MK Dons. I don't know how MK Dons didn't score in their game yesterday. They had so many chances and they went down on goal difference, so it's a bit harsh for them.
That's why they're getting relegated, isn't it?
There you go. There you go.
Finally, League Two, champions, Leyton Orient. Auto promotion went to Stevenage and Northampton. Playoffs went to Stockport, Carlisle United, Bradford City and Gary Neville's Salford City, who lost at home 1-0.
Yeah.
Mansfield Town missed out on 1 goal difference. They won 2-0. If they had scored 1 more goal, Salford would have got knocked out. But that's just the way football goes, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then relegation is Hartlepool and Rochdale. Do you want to quickly touch on National League semi-final playoffs?
Yes, please, Isaac.
Yeah, Notts County really, they tried to do, they want to do it the hard way, don't they?
They did indeed.
They were 2-0 down at half time.
Arrogance, no?
There you go. They said, well, we've got 107 points. This would be a cakewalk. Do you know what I mean? But they've done well to pull it back. I mean, so I want to say it wasn't in doubt, but I'm not going to lie to you. When I saw 2-0, I thought, wow, this is it. This is where the road ends for them. I genuinely thought they wouldn't. They weren't going to pull it back.
So for those that don't know, as Isaac said, Notts County were 2-0 down at home to Boreham Wood at half time. They scored in the 47th minute to make it 2-1. And then they scored in the 96th minute to make it 2-2. And then in extra time, they scored in the 120th minute to win the game. And it was an error from the Boreham goalkeeper
that was
as well.
terrible. Goalie basically threw it in the net.
I know he's going to have nightmares about that. And they're going to play Chesterfield in the playoff final on Saturday. Chesterfield overcame Bromley. Bromley went down to 10 men. When it was 1-1, Chesterfield made it 2-1. And then Bromley themselves scored in the 9th minute of injury time to make it 2-2. It went to extra time and Chesterfield ended up with a winner in the 101st minute.
By hook or by crook, Notts County have to go up. It will be a cry.
Well, it's kind of nice. it's kind of nice the way he's shaking out them up because now the second and third team are the third one, man.
Yeah.
The team that finished second and third.
Do you know what? I like the way they do their format of the playoffs. The second and third team, they get like a bye,
Yeah.
and then
semi-finals.
the four below them, they play first. That's something different. I wasn't aware of it.
Yeah.
True, but what I would like is 2 teams go up automatically.
Yeah.
Right.
And then they have playoffs. With one team, that jeopardy is too much.
Yeah.
Right, we're just going to have a discussion about the Premier League Hall of Fame.
Oh, let me go on this one.
Right, so before we start, so I want to have a discussion about a player who has not been inducted yet and whether this player has been somewhat slighted in his post-playing day career. And after that, just kind of what you think about the players that have been inducted, and I'll go through the ones that have been inducted since 2001. I'm just going to read off what the criteria is, though, so not anyone can get nominated to be in the Hall of Fame. So you've got to have more than 200 Premier League appearances, selected into any team of the decade or 20-year anniversary team, won a Premier League Golden Boot or Golden Glove, been voted as a Premier League Player of the Season, won 3 Premier League titles, or scored 100 Premier League goals, or as a goalkeeper, recorded 100 Premier League clean sheets.
So you can have any
Wait.
one of those things to be inducted into.
I was about to say, because
You're not going to get all of them. That's the criteria. That's the criteria. So I'm going to tell you the players that have been inducted since its inception in 2021, and then I'm going to mention the player who hasn't been in and whether they should have or what you feel their stance is. So 2021 was David Beckham, Dennis Bergkamp, Eric Cantona, Steven Gerrard, Roy Keane, Frank Lampard. 2022, Aguero, Drogba, Company, Peter Schmeichel, Paul Scholes, Ian Wright. And just last week, 2023, Tony Adams, Petr Cech, and Rio Ferdinand. So the player I want to talk about is Andy Cole. And Andy Cole has been nominated every year since the inception of this award.
So-
And I just want to put out there that this is voted for by the public.
Okay.
So there's no committee. There's not a Premier League committee. So do you think that Andy Cole is suffering from a recency bias?
Yes.
I disagree.
I don't
And
think so.
I disagree.
because he was around when there was such high-profile other players. So, John, you said yes, he's suffering from recency bias.
yeah.
Go.
And when I say recency bias, I mean he's not that prominent in like kind of post-career press and stuff, right? He's not that prominent. He's not around that much. I think in his position, other people are a lot more prominent. They're still large personalities. And I don't think Andy Cole had the biggest profile off the pitch anyway. And I think in these things, it matters. And I remember at the time, I was talking to Isaac about it. And this is where your fan voters killed it, actually, because he was explaining to me that in other sports where the Hall of Fame thing's a bit more mature, they drag it out a bit. You don't want all the best players going in the first 2 years, and it's not interested in 10 years or 5 years, which is right.
All right.
So they do drag it out a bit. But if it's down to the fan vote, I do think that him not being as prominent post-retirement has played a part.
All right. I disagree wholeheartedly. Number one, how can you say he wasn't prominent outside of his career? He was a not platinum selling, but he was a recording artist. He released a song and a video. Like, show me what other players have done that.
What's the name of it?
I can't remember what it was, but I remember the video. He was on his Usher vibe, trying to drive through
I understand
Manchester,
what you're saying.
driving through Salford in the drop top. Hold on.
All right, can I qualify that point?
Hold on. And to your other point about he's not prominent now, neither's Tony Adams.
I was gonna mention him.
Neither's Tony Adams. Bro,
Well-
you see, he had that failed career as a gaffer, and then you see him every once in a blue moon. They drag him out to
A lot of these players
do an
don't-
Arsenal game
haven't
or
done
something.
much.
exactly. So I don't think it's. I don't think it's
Don't see them
a case.
Can I just give my opinion on this one?
Go on.
Of course you can.
I reckon, basically, the only reason why he's not in it is what you said. It started in 2021. It's only been going 2-3 years.
This is it.
If this had been in place since 1995 or
Yeah,
whatever,
it would've
of
been
course
Of course.
he would have been in it,
Mm.
and he will get in it. But it's because obviously this Hall of Fame is very new. So all those players that you mentioned, they're probably all ahead of him in the pecking order. But he's done enough to be a Hall of Famer.
So you would say that Aguero
He
is
was
ahead
fan
of-
voted.
ahead of Andy Cole in terms of Premier League stature and,
Yes.
and performance.
Yeah.
Well, I disagree with that. But hey, Mark, what have you got to say?
If it's what did you?
Wow.
Who does this? It's a fan vote, right?
It's a public vote. So
It's-
the nominees get released every year, and then it's a public vote into who gets inducted.
There might be an element of recency bias here, but you just when it comes to fans, you just never know which way it's going to swing. So, like Dazza said, eventually he'll get in it. When there's less options, I guess.
Yeah.
But there's other players
but that's
that should be in it as well, but haven't been put in it
just
yet.
over time they'll get in it. It's just right now. I mean, I don't know.
It's just a
Okay, so
popularity
let's-
contest.
So let's take
But that's the point.
Hall of
Why
Fame.
are it
popularity
out of
contest,
Let's
basically.
take the Hall of Fame out of the equation.
Just to say, I want to come back to that in a minute because I've got
Yeah.
something to say on that. But go on.
Do you still think Andy Cole gets the respect of some of his peers? Because for me,
How does he not? They still talk about him. They're talking about him at the moment.
So I don't. Think,
He's always in the conversation.
So I think if you were to ask the average Joe England fan to name me your top 5 England strikers of the last
I don't
25
think Andy
years,
Cole gets in that list.
I don't think Andy
But
Cole.
he never played. He never had a good England career.
But he wasn't
No,
a top England striker.
but I mean like an English striker, and
Okay.
I'd say
Okay, sorry.
yeah,
You
no,
said
no,
England. I put him in England team.
an English
Yeah.
striker. I would say the majority wouldn't put him in his top 5. I would because
I agree.
I remember
I-
what he's done, etc. But I think a lot of people would go Alan Shearer, Michael Owen, Robbie Fowler. I'd say a lot of people put Ian Wright, ahead of
Rooney.
him, and Rooney, where I would have him in my top 5, and I think that's where the slight comes from. But if you go back and look at Andy Cole, he was a
How
With a
can you
shooter.
Bro,
not put
I'm
Andy
an
Cole
Arsenal
in
fan,
the
yeah.
top 5 without bruv, he's got 187 Premier League goals.
and that's why
Bro,
we.
There's
but that's
if anyone's not putting him in the top 5,
but that's the conversation. Like for the amount that he's done,
that is
he
crazy.
doesn't really get the respect publicly
Bro.
that he deserves.
Bro, I'm an Arsenal fan. I started watching Arsenal because of Ian Wright. The fact that Ian Wright got voted into this thing for Andy Cole is mad to me. I'm not going to lie to you. From a Premiership Hall of Fame level, that's madness.
But then it goes back.
But
It
it goes
goes
to my
back.
point about
But it
fans.
goes back to Daryl's point. It's a popularity
It's
contest.
exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, so that's what I was saying earlier. So the popularity has been maintained by certain things. Even Tony Adams, whether we like it or not, yeah, his popularity or his he became a meme, innit? He tried the managing thing,
Coaching.
the video of him, that goes around every tap. So I think Ian Wright has become a pillar of TV punditry, all the stuff that Andy Cole hasn't really done. Right? Let's be honest. So I do think that yes, it's a popularity contest, and he's always been someone through his own choice as well. This is not me playing violence. He himself has chosen to not be in a certain spotlight, not do certain things. I'm sure he could have done punditry all these years. He could have jumped on a podcast league, but he's just quietly been going around the world.
Some of it was ill health.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but even when he played, he was never really out there. Never was that kind of socialite player, etc. The people like Betts and Lamps and Gerrard being voted in early doesn't surprise me.
Also, as well, I think his Newcastle career was really good, but it was really early in the Premiership era. So I can understand why it's not as prominent in people's minds as what it is. Like, obviously, he scored 34 goals in the season. And I think the Man United team he played in as well had so many stars, it's easy for him to get swallowed in that team. Like, obviously, him and York had that really good combination. But if you look at that Man United team, you wouldn't automatically go to Andy Cole as your guy, so to speak, in terms of, as John said, the popularity. If you were to say name players in that Man United team, again, I don't think he's going to be in your top 4 or 3 players that you would say, just based on who was in that team at the time. And I think, again, to John's point, because it's a popularity contest, essentially, if it was voted by his peers, I think he would have been in a long time ago.
And one thing to mention, when you go to like the Aguero point and stuff like that, it's iconic moments as well. Those are what people remember. And that's what keeps you relevant if you've got an iconic moment, like the Aguero moment, that's going to be shown for years and years and years to come. It keeps him relevant in everyone's mind. But with Andy Cole, one thing I do want to get across is he's had a Hall of Fame Premiership career.
Yeah.
Whether he's in it or not, that is a Hall of Fame career.
That's why he's been nominated, because he's had a Hall of Fame career.
5 goals in 1 game.
Bro, even Drogba been there before him. But anyway,
but just to round off this, my view on the Premier League Hall of Fame, right? I think the whole process, I think the whole the way they do it, I think it's a disgrace to me, in my opinion, because it's not. The reason why I say it's disgrace, right? This is meant to be the pinnacle of like. You're meant to be celebrating the best players that have come through this Premier League, for however long they do it, right? Yeah. You're meant to be putting them on show and saying, right, these are the names, these are the guys that have really come in and shown out in the league, right? If they didn't do their Insta posts or their little social media posts, you'd never hear about it. Yeah. You'd never know about it. But it needs to be a whole spectacle. It needs to be, like how in the NFL, you know, like how in the NFL where there's a whole place.
Bad vibes.
It shouldn't be.
There's a whole place. Canton. You've got to go to Canton, and it's a whole like.
They would get it wrong though. They would get it wrong.
It doesn't matter. At least try. At least like if I'm a player,
I agree, man.
And if I'm a player who's like, if I'm Rio or whoever, and I'm sitting there thinking, oh, like this is it. You've brought me into this little building. You've had me little talk to like these little 10 people who come like it's a work meeting and they've just brought people in for a presentation. Like it's
employee of the month.
That's the vibe that it gives off.
I've had a stellar career, like,
and this is how you're showing.
Yeah. I get it, but I think they have to kind of do it the social media route just because of the era that we're in.
Okay, but now, put that to the side. There still needs to be a whole spectacle.
Yeah, it would be good, like if it was at the end of the season or something, and they were like, right, we're gonna have a display, invite all the managers.
You're telling me they can't. I don't know. I'm just picking a random venue. The Royal Albert Hall. You're telling me they can't rent that out?
It should be like the PFA Awards. A bit like a PFA Awards. It should be a proper.
And the thing is, be a whole spectacle.
It shouldn't be fan voted.
No,
I agree.
It shouldn't be.
I agree.
Or maybe if you're getting fans to vote, that's some of it, but that should never be the whole in or out.
I don't think.
No, I don't think because it can be manipulated, and like you say, in terms of the recency bias, like a lot of the people who are in the kind of social era now are going to be the ones voting, where people my age and upwards.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Like I've never voted in it. Like I've always had something to say, but I've never voted in it.
Exactly.
And then you're going to end up with situations where Andy Cole's been nominated 3 times in a row and not being put in because the fans, like you said, this social media era of fans, they're not voting because they don't know Andy Cole.
And the thing is, fans are not. Fans have got their own favourites. There's favouritism, so they're not voting who's better. They're voting who do I like better.
Yeah.
Not who's the better player, not who's had the better career, which it should be decided on.
Another thing as well, you see Andy Cole's era, it was when we were obviously much younger. The demographic of people that use social media nowadays are the younger generation. Like they use it much more, right? So they're going to probably see the vote and vote for whoever, like you said, Daz, who they like better and who they remember. They probably don't remember Andy Cole.
Yeah, that's the point.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not like...
I think...
go on.
No, so I agree about that. I think it should be a showpiece event. Black tie.
No, it should be.
The whole shebang, bro.
It should be.
Yeah,
the
end
whole
of the
night.
season.
It should be.
It's on a level or par or even above PFA Awards, football writers. It should be the thing every year. And then, as Dad said, the selection process, it should probably be a bit concurrent. So, Fergie and Wenger and Co are in it now. Every year there's that kind of panel that picks the next inductee and then the next inductee. And if you want to get the fans involved, you can say, right, there's 12 nominees a year, 10 are done by the panel, 2 are voted for by the fans. There's ways to do it.
Yeah.
But I don't, as much as we want to banter and have rivalries, people like Rio Ferdinand, who all of us widely regard as one of the best centre-backs the country's ever produced, should not be getting inducted in the Hall of Fame in what looks like a COVID era meeting. It looks like that socially distanced. That shouldn't be happening.
Yeah.
It should be glitz and glamour. It should be on Sky. It should be the whole shebang.
The whole, like on the big 100-inch screen.
They don't care
enough.
They don't care enough.
Montage of his. Do you know what I mean?
Career,
Players come down and talk about
So,
They
yeah.
come on, man.
They started it in COVID times. That's where they went wrong. They started it in lockdown.
No, but they delayed.
So-
it wasn't meant to happen in 2020,
Mm.
but because of COVID, they delayed it till 2021.
So yeah, it's just like
it's understandable. But yeah, I think we can go around this
Yeah.
all day. Everyone's got their favourites, who should be in and not. But yeah, I think that's enough for today, guys.
Yeah.
Round it up.
Indeed.
Thank you very much. Thanks for listening, watching, however you take us in. Signing off. Another week.
Indeed.
The Centre Circle.
Thanks for joining us from your luxury villa, mate.
yeah.
Bring your son back
appreciated.
with you, yeah?
Holiday
yeah,
home.
bring it back.
Enjoy.
Mate, yeah, so, when you collect the vouchers, you got to use them, So,
So I thought it was your time sharing.
Vouchers.
Yeah. All right, boys.
All right, peace.
Right,
Yeah.
see you next week.
Nice one, gents.
See you later.
Peace.
Yeah.